Teams making moves. Teams getting better. Two teams today got better. Dallas Cowboys and the Kansas City Chiefs got better today. And so did the Rams. Appreciate you guys coming aboard. We'll talk, obviously, Eagles here in a second here, but some teams that I tell people this all the time. The things that you do right now, every single thing last year that the Philadelphia Eagles didn't do last year, it played a factor in the fall. It completely played a factor in the fall. All that stuff that they didn't do. You know, it's funny. The only move that they made actually during the year that actually panned out was Jaylen Phillips. That entire offseason that they had, when it came to external moves that they made outside of the draft, all of that stuff did not help the football team in whatsoever, any way, shape, or form. It did not. And this is why I say, look, all the stuff that you set up for free agency, by the way, the legal tampering is on Monday. And free agency's next week, 4 o'clock Eastern time. Seals, how does Arizona owe Murray $36 million? Hey, I'll tell you this. How about this, Anthony? Tagovailoa's owed $54 million. If they cut him on the 11th, like they said to him already that they're going to release him, they owe him $54 million. This all comes with the guaranteed dough. And the guaranteed dough is money already paid, and that's the money that's already, but it goes on your cap. I mean, Kyler Murray's going to make $36 million no matter what this year. $36 million. Tagovailoa, $54 million. I listen, to me, I think Kyler Murray I think he's destined to go to Minnesota. Okay, I mean, I think he's destined. Put him in Minnesota. Put him up there. Let's see what he can do up there with that football team. And with that coach. By the way, it'd be the best coach that he's had since Cliff Kingsbury. So let's walk back here a little bit and let's do this. And as I said, I believe that the Dallas Cowboys today, and I do think that the Kansas City Chiefs ended up getting better. We'll get into the Eagles here in a minute. So the Rams and the Chiefs have agreed to a trade, and it's a blockbuster trade. Trent McDuffie to the Los Angeles Rams. It includes the 2026 29th player taken, the draft pick, and also multiple picks. McDuffie was entering his final season of his rookie year, is expected to sign a long-term deal. I'm reading out of the Associated Press. Chiefs exercised the 5th-year option, which paid him $13.6 this past season. Along with the 29th pick, get this, the Chiefs will get and receive a 2026 5th and 6th, and next year they will get a 3rd-rounder. That's a big haul. That is an absolutely huge haul. Get this. Patrick Mahomes, not a fan of it, reacted it on social media on his X account and just put in parentheses, damn, you lose a really good football player. Now, I think Kansas City's going to make some noise in free agency, and that's what this is about. I think they want to add some more pieces, but getting rid of McDuffie, I think the Rams got better big time. The Los Angeles Rams, they got better because now you have that great front seven, and now you add McDuffie in your secondary with Kitchens back there. And that was one of the areas of the football team defensively that got exposed in that Seattle matchup. I think they got better. They're pushing their chips in, and the LA Rams want to win right now. I mean, they want to win right now. Get this. This guy makes first team All-Pro. Flexen says he's baked. Yeah, whatever, guy. Guy's first team All-Pro. And he's fucking baked. Still, should the Eagles consider drafting Sadiq in the first? No. No. Okay? Great question. Hey, Denny, he asked an important question here. Why would the Chiefs trade away their best corner? Why would the New England Patriots trade away Darrelle Revis? Why would the New England Patriots trade away Stephon Gilmore? They believe in roster integrity and in cap integrity. You can't have your cap top end and your bottom cap of your bottom part of your roster with no money on it. You got to have a balanced salary cap. The teams that have balanced salary caps win because you're 53 deep. How many times do you see teams that are 22 deep or 24 deep and they get injuries and all of a sudden they don't have any replacements? That's kind of what happened to the Eagles. The Eagles are top heavy. They're top heavy because they're backups. With all the money that you pay to your offensive side of the football, you really don't have great backups. When you lost Makuba, you had to go to Sidney Brown, who stinks. When you lost like a corner, you had to go down the line and go to McMillan or whomever. Okay? I mean, getting baked? The only excuse is first team All-Pro, dickhead. Yeah, you're right. He's baked, and that's why he commanded 5 picks. Get this. You want to know what a jackass flexing is here? So a guy that both teams, Kansas City, getting rid of that player, and at the other end, the Rams giving up all those picks. Flexing knows better than Les Snead and Kevin Demoff, who've built a hell of a program, but he thinks the guy's baked, and they gave up four picks in a first rounder. Hey, dude, seriously, you might want to sit that one out. Casey's not afraid to move off of star players, just like New England did back in the day. Gabe, great take, and thank you for the super. That's correct. This is why they are so successful. They care about the roster integrity. And I think what they're going to do too, Gabe, I think they're going to build up that offensive side of the ball. Okay? Do you think Gibbs can be a top 3 running back now? In Detroit? I think he is already. I think he is. No, Sig, you're right. The Rams giving up all those picks. He's baked. Whatever. Typical Eagle fan. You know who's fucking going to get fleeced? Roseman when he moves AJ. Now let's go to the other team that got better today. The Dallas Cowboys. How about them Cowboys? Here we go. Dallas Cowboys. Moving money around. Love it. Dallas reworked some contracts. Again, out of the Associated Press, Cowboys have gotten under the 3012 salary cap Wednesday by restructuring the contracts of Dak and CeeDee Lamb and Tyler Smith. The Cowboys were nearly $55 million over the cap before the moves, but restructuring cleared around $66 million in space. The Dallas Cowboys now have $66 million in cap space. While the Cowboys are under the cap, they need more room to be aggressive, as owner Jerry Jones is inclined to say. The Cowboys wide receiver George Pickens on the cap of $27.3 in this coming season. Jones said that they are starting today to work the contracts of both the tackles and also Quinnen Williams. The Cowboys are going to try to get to a nearly $80 million in cap space. I think they're going to make a play for Max Crosby. And I think they're going to sign Max Crosby, and I do believe they're going to sign Nakobe Dean. And that's going to make them the favorites to win the NFC East. And where are the Eagles? Eagles have 2 issues. So if you let Goddard go, you got cap issues there. And if you let AJ go, you got more cap issues. The Eagles are kind of in a pickle here. Other teams are clearing space and other teams are maneuvering around. You got to figure out who you're going to keep and who you're going to give contract extensions to. By the way, it's irrelevant. They beat you last year. The Cowboys were just as good as you a year ago. Well, wait a minute there. They beat you. They came from 21 down and beat you, and you guys were full strength. Okay? AJ is an ass because he's not effing with you. He wants out. Okay. So here, Sue, what do you think the Eagles are going to do to better themselves this offseason? I'm curious. What are they going to do to better their team? It ain't that coaching staff they hired. By the way, Angelo Cataldi today, and we will also have Battle Royale. So they've done nothing on a football team that didn't do nothing. We beat them too. They had a better record in the NFC East than you last year. Did they not? You guys lost to the shitty Giants. He talked like they swept us. No, they had a better record in the East than you. They were 4-3. I believe they were 4-3. Let me double check that. Let me see here. Want to be accurate. Let's see here. What were the Cowboys? Cowboys were 4-3-1 and they were in the conference. In the division, the Cowboys were 4-2 and the Eagles were 3-3. Yeah. They handled their division better. Sills, always say resumes. What was Seattle's head coach before the Ravens DC? Just a fucking guy. Okay? He was a play caller also, was he not? When he was with the Ravens? Was he not the defensive coordinator? Your fucking guy was a nobody. He was the defensive coordinator of the Ravens. Was he not? He had a job as a D coordinator in Baltimore. Was he not? Dodd, was he not? He was Harbaugh's DC in Michigan. No. The guy in Seattle he's talking about, Kyle, was the defensive coordinator for the Ravens. Well, at least he had a job. At least he was a coordinator. I mean, Mike McDaniels was the coordinator of the Ravens. Your guy did a nice job with Malik Willis, I guess. Right? I think he got some. Listen, Cowboys got better. They freed up cap. And the Chiefs are going to acquire players here. I don't know. I'll tell you what. How about A.J. Brown to Kansas City? And Kansas City, how about A.J. Brown to KC? Man, get some of those future draft picks. AJ to KC, you get him out of the conference. You put him in Kansas City. AJ Brown and Mike Evans in Kansas City. I like that. Chills, couldn't wait to say this Cowboy shit. He's wearing his Mark Holmes knee pads today. Bro, they fucking cleared up $66 million in cap space. They're going to go after Crosby. And they're going to go after defensive personnel. I don't know how you don't think that's better. What have you done so far? You can't even decide what to do with A.J. Brown yet, and you don't know what to do with Dallas Goedert yet. You tell me. You got 5 days left until free agency. 5 days left. Howie is asking for a first and second for AJ. Hey, Piatis, let me say this to you, too. If you don't make that deal this year, you'll never get a one for him ever again. You'll never get a one for him again. So ask yourself, you wait another year, you're not getting a one. You're not getting a first rounder next year. So do you take the one now or do you wait? Sills loves to judge our moves off predictions that other teams don't have way more glaring holes they need to fill. You're missing the point, douchebag. I'm talking about teams that are close to being good. I don't give a shit about the Cardinals. I don't give a shit about the Jets. They're 10, 15 years away from being decent. I'm talking about good teams. This guy's dumb. This is dumb. You know what? I love him being here because this guy turns me into Einstein on how fucking dumb he is. It's classic and I love it. Every time he posts something, it shows how stupid this guy is. And I love it. Keep posting away, dumbass. Get off the Eagles' pipe, hater. Go Birds. I'm not hating on your team at all. 30 years of trends and you still believe in the Cowgirls. I didn't say that. That's like this dickhead saying yesterday that I compared Kenyon Sadiq to Gronk when I said, don't believe in statistics because Gronk didn't have a great career in college. And he somehow fucking tied that in, that I compared the guy to Gronkowski. Nobody knew who Gronk was at Arizona either. But you never know what you're going to get in the draft. Somehow you tie all that bullshit in. I never said the Cowboys were good the last 30 years. I said the Cowboys made a good move today. Sills, as far as signing, should Davis and Carter be our top priorities? Davis has to be addressed. Are you going to let Jordan Davis go into a final year and become a free agent at the end of the year? I think you do have to answer that. I do. Hold on. If you're saying that, I know I'm having a great show already. Every day I'm just like, how did we get here? Wheels starting to come off when the O-line got banged up and underperformed. We need better. Michael, I'm going to tell you how you got here. Sustaining success in the NFL is almost impossible. And I'll say this to you, man. I mean, what the New England Patriots did by being that good for that long, do you know why they were good that long? They moved off of people big time. They didn't sit around dying on the vine with players. They moved them. They moved Randy Moss. They moved Darrelle Revis. They moved all those guys. They were not afraid to. They moved guys with guys left in the tank. How about this too, Michael? You know what? Let me ask you this, Michael. If Bill Belichick were running the Philadelphia Eagles right now, would he have already moved A.J. Brown? He would have. He would have. And by the way, do you know why? Why do you think New England? Hey, Bob, ask yourself this, Bob. Why do you think New England was able to do that? And why do you think Kansas City is able to move off of Trent McDuffie? Why do you think those organizations are able to move off of players like that? Why do you think, Bob? Why do you think Kansas City can move off of a player like Trent McDuffie? And when you had in New England, you were able to move off of guys like Randy Moss. you could move off of so many people. There you go, Gabe. They trusted the quarterbacks to cover the mistakes, or they trusted the quarterback to cover the loss of talent. You can't do that in Philly. Those quarterbacks, if you move off of guys like that, you had no downtick in production. Last year, Kansas City kind of went through the same thing that New England went through in the middle years with Brady from one dynasty to the next dynasty. They kind of were in that middle. And that's kind of where Kansas City was last year. And they knew immediately that they've got to get more talent now for Mahomes as he's starting to get up in age. Think of this, too. Remember something on Brady at the end. Brady didn't believe the New England Patriots were any longer a Super Bowl contender. That's why he moved to Tampa. He moved to Tampa because he saw that the thing had run out of gas. And there were talented players down there. It's hilarious how bad you want the Eagles to trade AJ for pennies on the dollar. Maybe if Jerry Jones was our GM. Huss, I'm not the only fucking guy that wants to trade the guy. You're never going to win the trade unless you trade him for a player. I don't care how many first-round picks you get. You could get this, Mike. You could trade A.J. Brown for 2 1s. You're never getting a player back in any of those 2 1s. You're gambling. So whether you get rid of him, I want a player. I want a proven dude. You think if you trade a guy like A.J. Brown, you're getting a guy back where? That's going to be what? The chances of landing on Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell again? I think Jahad Campbell's a really good player. A transitional player? A generational player? Not happening. You think Glaze and the Cowboys is saying that they did a great thing today by restructuring a contract so that they can get $66 million under the cap? Is glazing? I call that good business, dickbag. Seals, the big factor to the Patriots' success was Brady. When at the top of his game, he took less financially. Yeah. And that's why Mahomes right now is the 14th highest paid quarterback in pro football. Okay? Kansas City got better, yes, because you know why? Brett Veach and Andy Reid know how to build a football team. They got success, and they got multiple Super Bowl appearances and Super Bowl wins. They got a better fucking organization than you do. Their success proves it over the last 6 years. You don't have any more success than the Kansas City Chiefs. I know you think you do. Here, look at this one. Mr. Flip-Flop is back. He's now saying elite quarterback Mahomes needs elite quarterback to win. I say, senor, that as you get older, you need players around you, and you can't carry a team as much as you could when you were younger. I've said that and been consistent with that. Brady needed better players as he got into his 40s also. As Mahomes is getting up there in age, yeah, they need more players around him. When they're younger, they don't need anybody around them. Mahomes and Brady won with no skilled players that of any sort will ever make it to the Pro Football Hall of Fame in any way whatsoever. When they won the Super Bowl, outside of Gronkowski and Travis Kelce, there's nobody else that those two guys played with that's going to Canton. Nobody. Or is even an all-pro. What all-pro wide receiver did Tom Brady play that he won a Super Bowl with? What wide receiver did he play with? Help me out. What wide receiver did he play that was a Pro Bowl receiver? What Pro Bowl receiver after Tyreek Hill left? When he went back-to-back Super Bowls. Who? Play with anybody. Mahomes needs a super team? He beat you with Juju Smith-Schuster. Who? The Eagles below everybody in the NFC East and Super Bowls. The fans think they're the greatest. Let's see. Washington has 3 Super Bowls. How many appearances? 3, 4, 5. I think they got 5 appearances in the Super Bowl and 3 wins. I think they're 3-2. The Giants have 2 Parcells, 2 Coughlin, and they went to another one. I think it got beat by the Ravens, so that's 5, and they got 4. Let's see, who else? And the Giants, I just said, Washington, and the Cowboys have 2 with Landry, 2 with Jimmy, 1 with Switzer. So there's 5 Super Bowls, and they went to 1 in 71. Another one, they got beat by the Dolphins, 2. And I think that's it. And they got beat by the Steelers. So I think they've been to 7 Super Bowls, and they've got 5 wins, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see. Cowboys $9 million in cap space. Check it. Actually, I'm reading off the Associated Press here, saying that the Cowboys right here. This is the AP. So I'm assuming then the Associated Press is wrong in what you're saying here, because AP Cowboys have gotten under the $301.2 million cap Wednesday by restructuring the contracts of quarterback Dak Prescott, wide receiver CeeDee Lamb, and also left guard Tyler Smith. The Cowboys were nearly $55 million over in cap before the moves, but restructured, clearing around $66 million in cap space. So again, they now have 60. They've gone, and now they're probably around. So your number is probably around right, is 10, and that's why they're going to restructure Quinnen Williams, Kenny Clark, and the other defensive tackle. So they want to probably get, because you're going to need $25 million for your draft, $20 million or $18 million for your draft. So you're probably going to have to restructure, I would say, to get another $40 million. You're going to have to do those 3 guys. Okay? Plus the Pickens deal, right? Okay? Plus the Pickens deal. So the Cowboys are clearing room to make room to try to go after players. They aren't getting Crosby. Why not? They do have to pay. Hey, again, pointless Cowboys stink. Okay, well, let's see what you do. I have more faith in Howie than what I see with the Cowboys. I do. All right, guys. Appreciate you. Do me a favor. Please hit the like button. We will have Angelo Cataldi with us at 3:30. 4:30, we will have Battle Royale. The Cowboys already did restructuring those guys. The Eagle fans just mad saying anything. Of course they're saying anything. Absolutely. Oh, shit, we need a kicker next year, too. Oh, you're going to need a kicker. Pickens shows toxic as Antonio Brown tendencies. Well, wait a minute. Let's see. The guy that the Steelers got rid of, and George Pickens was a model guy in Dallas this last year. And the guy that the Steelers traded for, DK Metcalf, punched a fan and got suspended for the last 2 games of the year. Interesting how you come down to that, Big Pickin'. The guy that they traded for ended up being the one that got suspended. And Pickens goes to Dallas and ends up getting tagged for $28 million. Huh. Interesting how you got there. I also think the Cowboys are gearing up for a monster season, and I hate the Cowboys. Okay? Don't get mad, man, because the Cowboys are making moves, and you're still figuring out what to do with Kobe Dean. Sills, what do you think Howie's plan are for the next week? If you had to recklessly speculate, okay? I like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My number one thing that I would want, if I had Howie's desk, the number one thing I'd want to resolve the A.J. Brown problem. It's now, how about this? Let's be fair here. Is the A.J. Brown story a problem? Do you think it's a problem now? Is it a problem? It's been a problem. Okay? Well, wait a minute. Phillips is not the number one priority. I'll tell you why. Because Phillips, to me, if I'm going to sign that guy, I already know I'm going to sign him or not. I already know the number. And by the way, let me ask you something. Let's do all the smart. Let's go to this guy right here. As of right now, before free agency and before Monday, don't the Eagles have Jaylen Phillips under contract until Monday? He's not a free agent yet. Why haven't they signed him? Why haven't they signed him? Anyone? McDonald, head coach Seattle, was also a grad assistant at Georgia. Huh, nice. Why haven't they signed Jaylen Phillips? You own him right now. Why don't you do a Zach Bond like you did with Zach Bond? Not meeting the asking price? Hey, Piatis, am I right? The Eagles own his rights right now. Hey, Bob, don't the Eagles own his rights? The Eagles own his rights, right? Phillips? Bob, they own his rights. Well, why haven't they signed him? Well, what does that mean? 4 days left. Here, get this, Alfredo. If I really love somebody and I really like somebody, I'm not waiting for them to get to the trading deadline. I'm signing you right now like I did Zach Bond. They didn't wait for Zach Bond to get to free agency. You signed him prior to that. Why are you letting him get to free agency? If you really like the player, why haven't you signed him? You own his rights for the next 5 days. Oh, I don't think you're wrong, but I think what Eagle fans are not looking at here. No. Nope. What, dopey? Why haven't they signed him? Bond was a first-team All-Pro. Phillips is a good starter. So that means in your eyes, he's not a top priority then. The juice might not be worth the squeeze. If Phillips signs elsewhere, Howie could recoup the pick in a comp. Howie loves comp picks. See what Twiz says. Why wouldn't I want to see what my value is in the open market? So then that means right there, then what Twiz is telling you, that the Eagles don't want to meet potentially what the open market is going to pay. Is that right, Twiz? Is that what you're saying? Because if you love somebody enough, you're not going to let them get to free agency and test the market. Why would I want to go out? And why would I want to allow the guy to up his value? His value is going to be high. He's considered one of the better coveted free agents. So are you giving Phillips $28 million? So you guys think he's getting $28 million? I'd rather pay up for Max. Listen, I'm asking you. I'll tell you why they haven't signed him. Because I do think that the player has the leverage here. The Eagles probably came in just like the Buccaneers did with Mike Evans. Here's our number we have. And guess what? The agent went like this. Drew Rosenhaus went, yeah, we're not going to sign for that. We'll get back to you. We're going free agency. Players got the leverage here. Eagles don't have the leverage with Phillips. You have 5 days of leverage. That's it. 5 days of leverage. And right now they're burning the leverage up. You could sit around and have a conversation with Jaylen Phillips all you want. If you're nowhere and you're $6-7 million away from the number, Drew Rosenhaus is not signing for that. $6 or $7 million to you guys may not sound like a lot, but $7 million over 3 years is $21 million. That's a big number. That's a quarter of a, I mean, that's a lot of money, $21 million. Why would he do it? When we traded for him, he impacted the defense in the first game. Can you imagine what a better player would do? Hey, when you're looking at better players, okay? When you're looking at better football players, you know what's funny? I heard John McMullen say that Max Crosby has played a lot of football in the last whatever years, right? I'm going to show you something here. So let me go over here. And you guys wanted to trade for Myles Garrett, did you not? So Myles Garrett averages about 868 snaps total. And he's done that for the last 10 years. And you wanted to trade for him. Is that right? You think he's played a lot of football in his career? Shit, you guys wanted to trade for him. Did you not? I mean, you wanted to play for the guy. Or you wanted to pay, and you wanted to trade for the guy. I know that he's a better ball player. I'm talking about the comment about a lot of football being played. And here, Myles Garrett had 25. He had 869 snaps last year. 362 run snaps. 507 in pass snaps. That guy's played a shitload of football too over the last 12 plus years. Seals, Howie has done this before. Lets a player test the market, and if he doesn't work, Howie gets the discount. If the player moves on, Howie gets the comp pick. This is Roseman's dance. Name me a top flight player that he let go onto the open market and then he brought back. Bob, I'm curious. Who's that guy? Who's that guy that he allowed to go out in the open market that was a really good football player, and then he brought him back and got him at a reduced rate? Who was that guy? Yeah, Phillips is getting a better offer than the Eagles. Yes, he's getting a better offer. None. Howie doesn't offer contracts. He lets players test the market and leave. Yeah. I think that's probably right. But, he was a trade, if I'm not mistaken, from Detroit. So I do remember that. He came back and he took a small haircut. I think Slay's right, Chris. That sounds right. I think you guys are right. I think it was Slay. But if you really look at it, not really a lot of guys he allows to leave and go out in the open market. And Slay was 32 years old. That's the reason he let Slay go out in the open market, is it not? So here's the main question. If you were running the Eagles, how would you have fixed the problems from last year? Patullo isn't gone yet. Nothing's been changed. Patullo is gone. What do you do? I wouldn't have let one of those two. I would have probably let Milton go. I would not have let Josh Sweat go. I would not, because then I could have had, and I could have worked in rotation. I could have had Jalix Hunt, Nolan Smith, and I would have had Josh Sweat, and I would have had Carter and Davis, and I would have let Milton walk. I wouldn't have let Sweat go. Milton's $26 million. You're gonna have to let something like that go. You're going to. But what I think the miscalculation is that people thought that Nolan Smith was going to get a contract and potentially Nakobe Dean might get a contract. That hasn't panned out. Those guys underperformed. Well, not Nakobe. Nakobe was injured for the first how many games? 5? Nakobe was a good football player this year. He just missed more time again. So I think, and again, I would not have extended. I would have not given more money to Saquon Barkley. For what? Congratulations. Thank you for doing a good job. Oh, I see. Barkley got a contract raise, and Jeff Stoutland 6 months later got fired. Okay. The Cam thing, you can't do anything about it because he's a second rounder and he didn't have a fifth-year option that you could dick around with. So you kind of had to start, manipulating. And he played really well in 24. Cam Jurgens played well. Seals Howie doesn't care if Phillips walks because he traded a third, and if Phillips gets a payday, he will get a comp of the third. Yes, he will. Here again, I asked you the question. For 5 days, the Eagles have leverage with Jaylen Phillips. If they don't sign him, in my opinion, by the weekend, Drew Rosenhaus is not going to sign that contract unless Howie meets their number of $27 million. $27.5 million to be exact is what they're looking for. I know that on fact. They're looking for $27 million or around that number. And the Eagles are nowhere near that. I think the Eagles' top number is 21-2. Remember I said this. 21-2, Philly. Jaylen Phillips is looking around somewhere near $27 million. Sills, why do you feel better moving off of Dean? Because you got Vic and Bobby King, and because I also have Jahad Campbell. I think Jahad Campbell's a good football player, dude. Okay? Yeah, I'm sure because you talked to Drew Rosenhaus and Robert Bailey, my former teammate? Yeah, I'm sure you do, dickhead. Shields did, and by the way, you know what else too? And get this. I told you New England Patriots were looking at A.J. Brown. Senior executive. Showed you his text. Oh, Ben Reyes, I'm sure. He probably knows Elliot Wolf. Seals, I think Howie wants to give the money to Jonathan Grenard at a cheaper price. You knew Clinton said he would walk this year. No, that's not what I said. I said that he was interviewed for the defensive coordinating job down in Miami because he interviewed and also requested an interview to have Jason Taylor come over with him and interview with the Miami Dolphins to be the D-line coach. When Vic Fangio was talking about retiring, the Eagles told Clint Hurt, listen, you'll be our top candidate next year in the probability that Vic Fangio will step down as the defensive coordinator. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm lying. Seals, didn't Howie do it with Dallas Goedert too? A little bit, yeah. Get this. If you talk to Philadelphia Eagle people and beat writers, they'll tell you right now that Phillips is a better player than Sweat. Show me where anywhere in his career that he's been better than Josh Sweat. Show me anywhere where he's been better. Anywhere where he's been a better ball player. And I love Jaylen Phillips. Anywhere in their careers where he's been better than him. Like any year, pick one. And I'll pick 3 years that Sweat's been better. Really? Let's take a look at Josh Sweat. Let's see what Josh Sweat. And we'll team that up there. We'll take a look at that. Josh Sweat. See what Sweat has done. How many years he's played. So he's been in the league 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And here's his years over the last since 2000. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, last 6 years. 6 sacks, 7.5, 11.5, 6.5, 8, 12. TFLs. Pretty good hits on the quarterback. 20, 15, 23, 23, 13, 18, and 10. So let's take a look at Jaylen Phillips. Since 2000. Let's see here. Since 2000. He's played 5 years. Came in the league at 21. 8.5, 7, 6.5, 1, and 5, and 8. Let's see here. Hits on the quarterback. 7, 14. Where's he been better? Really? I haven't seen that. So you know that Lamborghini he drives? You're telling me that you think that he regrets having that Lamborghini? No Sweat slander tolerated. That dude was the MVP of the Super Bowl. Sweat was really good against the run as well as a good pass rusher. Sweat has proven more than Phillips and surprisingly healthier. And that was the big thing of him coming out of Florida State because of that devastating knee injury that he had when he was in high school. Seals, don't discount the fact that Howie would be choosing Phillips over Nolan Smith. Howie really loves his guys. Well, that's a big problem for him because the Nolan Smith deal is now proving out to be not a very good pick. No matter what and by the way, I don't think he's a horrible player. He's just not a first-round pick. And there's a couple of guys on that defense that you could start making the comparisons on. Sidney Brown's not a third-rounder. Nolan Smith's not a first-rounder. Jalen Carter stepped back a bit. Davis has stepped up. Morrow is clearly better than a 7th-round pick. Philly listening to offers for Saquon, what I hear, who in their right mind is going to pay $20 million for a 28-year-old guy that people are questioning whether or not he's starting to get deep in the threads? I don't know about that. Go have him. I mean, what do you think you're going to get for Saquon Barkley? 28 years old in 800 carries in the last 2 years. What do you think you're going to get for that? A first-round pick? You couldn't get a first-round pick for Saquon Barkley right now. With the amount of carries, the injuries, question marks on whether or not he still has it. You think you're getting a 1 for that? I mean, shit. The Seahawks are moving off a 23-year-old MVP in a Super Bowl. Yeah, if the number was different, Drew, maybe. If there was no 20, then, that makes that probably like a 2 in there. Howie would easily get a 1. Because of what? His great year a year ago? Easily. Saquon's going to light it up this year. Behind that what? That old line? All right. 1 year removed from, well, wait a minute. 1 year removed from the Pro Offensive Player of the Year, and you fired Stoutland. Paul, how's that work for Stoutland then? How'd that work for Stoutland? Why'd you fire his ass then? Why'd you disrespect him? So Barkley gets the benefit, but Jeff Stoutland didn't? Hook me up on that, Paul. And he landed on Chris Cooper? So let's go down the line here, Paul, and be, how did that work? What the F am I talking about? Agreed. Well, what are they doing then? Help me out here, Paul. Anything? The Eagles felt enough to take away the run game coordinating duties and allow the guy to walk out the door. And you're sitting there telling me this guy's 1 year removed for being a professional offensive player of the year in the National Football League, but Stoutland didn't get that benefit, and you're giving him the benefit. Why didn't Nick give him the benefit, and you're giving Saquon Barkley it? No, nothing? Got it. I hear you, kid. I would go after the Eagle guy at Indy. Thanks, Paul. Appreciate you, bro. Sills, lots of talk about Howie looking at Boyama from Seattle. Might be why he's waiting on Phillips. Mahaffey and Phillips are similar. Mahaffey's healthy. Dude, that guy's not going to sit back on his ass. Thank you, Paul. Mark my words, Stout will end up at the Jets. There could be a non-compete in there. Howie loves signing free agents compared to his own draft picks. He also loves hiring coaches with zero experience. I think Howie loves them draft picks more than anything on the planet, dude. Yeah, I agree. I don't think he has a no-compete in there. And I wouldn't be shocked if the Eagles are paying him like the full year in 2026. You don't just let a guy like that walk around the street who's one of the greatest, if not in the top 3 offensive line coaches in pro football history with still some juice left. You don't just let the guy walk away. That guy, I would have fired my O-line coach that I currently had and said, hey, listen, I talk behind the scenes. Jeff, you want the job? Yeah. I tell my guy coming in and go, hey, listen here, man. I'm hiring Stoutland. You want to work with him? If not, you can move on. Howie didn't sign Milton and Sweat. Both were better than Phillips. Why pay Phillips this year and not one of the other edges last offseason? I don't know. That right there is a great take. So you would get this. It's a great take. You wouldn't sign Sweat, but now you're going to sign Phillips. So you wouldn't give Phillips $23 million or $20 million. You let him walk for, what was it, $18 million? And Phillips is not better than Josh Sweat. I don't give a shit what John McMullen says. Proven where? Josh Sweat was the MVP of the Super Bowl defensively. 13 months ago. 13 months ago, that guy was the MVP defensively in the Super Bowl. And it was $19 million. Thank you, Drew. Now you're going to pay $26 million for Phillips? Make that make sense. Good take, senor. Hey, think of this. Hey, Bob, think of this. If you would have signed Josh Sweat for $18 million, you moved off of Bryce Huff, you wouldn't have to be sitting here with Jaylen Phillips talking about $26 million. Okay? So now you're going to pay more. You're going to pay more for a guy who's just as good as Josh Sweat. And Josh Sweat makes $19 million. You calculated wrong financially. Huff only goes and does good under Saleh because Saleh knows how to use him. Correct. By the way, Angelo Cataldi, guys, do me a favor. Please hit the like button. He's going to join us at the bottom of the hour. Let's see here. That's a good take. I'll take that. Josh Sweat. How old is this guy? Josh Sweat right now is... Josh Sweat's 28 years old. How old is Jaylen Phillips? I think he's 26. Let's see here. Jaylen Phillips. He's 26. He's 2 years younger than Josh Sweat. Now, and by the way, both have knee injuries. Not talking about spilt milk here. We're talking about how you've constructed the team the last 2 years and why you're in this position. It's not, get this, it's not spilt milk, folks. It's how do you think Howie's done in free agency the last 2 years? Well, we can't really say anything yet. We can't say that yet. We have to wait and see what happens with free agency this offseason here. We can't really say that yet. Phillips has just as much health concerns as Josh Sweat does, and you're going to pay him $26 million? And pay him like the money you could have paid Sweat last year? Well, wait a minute, Rico. We got to wait and see what happens this offseason here. Sills, let's not overlook bringing Phillips back might be Vic's call. It's not going to be Vic's call. It's going to be Vic's recommendation, I would think. You're missing what I'm saying, though. I'm not even talking about really. I'm talking about the accumulation of all these players and how you're doing. Let's see here. More to do with Nolan. They're saving to pay one guy big money. Well, let's take a look at that. And you say they're going to spend big money. I don't believe that. I think the Eagles right now are in a position right now where, get this, Their big guy's Jaylen Phillips. That's their big guy. Their big guy's Jaylen Phillips. Here, let me go over here now. And I want to do this here. So this is kind of a synopsis on by Bledsoe. And this is on the Eagles. Unrestricted free agents. Reed Blankenship, Dallas Goedert, Jaylen Phillips, Fred Johnson, Jahan Dotson, Adoree Jackson, Grant Calcaterra, Kobe Dean, Brett Toth, Braden Mann, Kalen Granson, Marcus Epps, Joshua Uche, Matt Pryor, Brandon Graham, Azeez Ojulari, A.J. Dillon, and Sam Howell. So those are the guys that come Monday could sign with other teams, and you post-date it until the 11th. Like, Nakobe Dean could sign on Monday with the Dallas Cowboys. He could sign on Monday. Okay? Projected cap space, right? As of now, not redoing anything, you got 8.53 in cap space. Okay? Eagles defense could look a lot different in this upcoming 26 season. Edge rusher Jaylen Phillips, linebacker Nakobe Dean, and safety Reed Blankenship. And cornerback Adoree Jackson could all be gone. Think about this for a minute. So here, and look at both sides of the football here. As, by the way, I'm not saying right now that all these guys are gone. I'm talking about what you have to look at and what your work is to do in these next 5 days. So you got corner 2, CB2 on defense. You've got a Mike linebacker, Mike, and Nakobe. You've got Jaylen Phillips, your edge. And you got Adoree Jackson over there. That's 3 starters off that defense of a year ago. Okay? Let's go over to the other side of the ball. On the offensive side, your tight end position, you might lose both your tight ends. You might lose both Goedert and Calcaterra heading into free agency and the draft. You're going to lose wide receiver 3, who started, how many games did he start? Has he started 34 games for you? Not that he's a factor. He is a player, though. How many games has he started for you? So he's been in 34 games in Philly, and he started 16 of those games in Philadelphia. So he's been active for 34 games, and he's played as your third wideout. So Dotson, like I said, he's not a. So your pass game could have still AJ and Devontae. That's all assuming AJ stays. If you lose AJ, you've got Devontae Smith and then who? Johnny Wilson? How much of a priority is that? Do you think with the new offensive coordinator? If you lose AJ Brown, you got one dude left. Devontae Smith, your entire passing game. Dotson's going to leave. Maybe they pay him. Maybe he wants to stay. I don't know. Like I said, not quite a priority in the passing game. Maybe it's going to be because I don't know what they're going to look like. Both your tight ends are gone. If I'm Dallas Goedert, why in the hell would I want to come back to lesser? And by the way, maybe the Eagles don't even want him back. So, according to B. Preston, your passing game would be Devontae Smith, Johnny Wilson, and Darius Cooper. Okay? Compared to A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, and Jan Dotson. You're proposing B. Preston. Devontae Smith as your 1, Darius Cooper as your 2, Johnny Wilson as your 3, and a draft pick or free agent as your tight end. Is that right? Is that what you're suggesting? And you want to develop what? A new way of approaching? Now listen, I'm asking the question here because wait a minute. You also have to address on the other side your defense. Phillips, Dean, and corner. Do I think you have the perfect guy at the helm for this? Yes, I do. Your needs. I would put them in order now coming out of the combines. Edge. I would say, how about this? Would you draft a linebacker from rounds 3 to 4 if you lose Dean? Would you take a linebacker in there? By the way, okay, Mike says no. Hey, Mike, do you think one of the reasons that your defense got better over the last 2 years is because of the play of your linebackers? Yes or no? By the way, the play of your linebackers has covered a lot of bad football at the safety position. You don't think there's any coincidence that your linebacker play the last 2 years since 23 has significantly changed the direction of your defense and also the guys up front? Just a thought. Hey, Sills, is Howie willing to sacrifice another season due to certain people still on the team and with a two-move offense and losing potential D players? You know what? I'll say this. That's exactly what the Patriots did. They sacrificed 3 shitty years and built up their team and got back to a Super Bowl. I'm a big fan of that. I don't care. If you have 2 shitty seasons and you win a Super Bowl in year 3, was that worth it? You're damn right that's worth it. Would you rather be good for the next 3 years and not get to the NFC Championship game? Or would you rather take a step back and get to the Super Bowl in 2 years? Would you rather be good for 3 years? Not quite. Like, how about this? Does anybody want to be the Steelers? Hey, we're kind of good every year. We're not true Super Bowl contenders, but we're just kind of good. You know, I mean, do you want to? Okay. Do you want to be good? Like the Steelers are good. Are they a Super Bowl team? Hell no. Hell no. I don't want to be Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh sits around in the shit bowl spinning. 9-8, 10-7, 9-8, 10-7, 9-8, 10-7. And get this, they haven't won a playoff game in over 10 years. What is this? Oh, what is this? But Sills, you're going to shred us in the meantime. I'm not shredding anybody here. If you think point now, what you guys have to do on your football team is shredding you, I'm only here to point shit out to you. That's all I'm here. Look at here. Here's your decisions. Jaylen Phillips, Jacoby Dean, and Adoree Jackson. Tight end, wide receiver 3. Those are decisions you have to make personnel-wise this offseason. You have to determine what's your priority here. And if you go into the NFL draft, is it going to be an impact football player that helps you right now? How you doing? God, there's a lot of fun here. General Manager Howie Roseman will have to pull off another heist or 2 this offseason in order for the Eagle defense to remain a top-tier level that they've operated at the last 2 seasons. Damn! Sills, this is the most critical offseason we've had in a long time. Yeah. See this guy? If I were the Chicago Bears, I'd go get me this guy. But I can't believe Baltimore's going to allow that dude to roll out of Baltimore. I would be very shocked if that guy rolls out. Sills, if AJ doesn't want out, then why did we put a price on what it would take? The dude is good as gone. I'm with you. I don't know. I don't know what people are talking about. Everyone's now talking. That's a good question. Let me see something here on the Eagles cap. The Eagles are projected to have a healthy cap situation in 27 with over $92 million in potential free space, ranking them among the top teams in available unallocated funds. Top cap allocations, 27, are roughly 273 to 286, with major cap hits coming from Hurts at 42 and Lane at 24 and AJ at 22. Projected cap space for the 27 Eagles. There's your guy right there. Howie Roseman. This guy's prepping for 27. He's getting it all ready for 27. That's what he's doing. 2027. That's what he's looking at. Here, let me go here and get the other one here. Let me see here. So let me go to the Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys. This is after the combines. This is Bledsoe with initial report. Restricted free agents. Donovan Wilson, Kenneth Murray, Logan Wilson, Sam Williams, Jalen Tolbert, Jadeveon Clowney, Dante Fowler, Jack Sanborn, Miles Sanders, Corey Ballantyne, C.J. Godwin, Peyton Turner, and Robert Jones. Projected cap space. It's just been adjusted today. $63 million. The Cowboys own the worst scoring defense in football this past season, allowing 30.1 points per game. That ranked as the second worst in 66 years of the Cowboys' football existence, with only the 1960 squad being the worst. That was the inaugural year, which they averaged 30.8. This was historic bad. Cowboys' edge rusher position is heavily depleted because of the loss of Parsons, Sam Williams, Jadeveon Clowney, Peyton Turner, Dante Fowler Jr. are all set for free agency. I'd get every one of those guys out the door. Dallas needs to address that position. Their other linebacker spot, with Overshown coming back after a disastrous season at the spot. Cornerback depth, particularly at the nickel. They need a lot of work there, as does the safety position. Wide receiver and kicker only became needs for Dallas if Jerry Jones bungles contract negotiations with Pickens and kicker Brandon Aubrey. I think that stuff's being resolved with Pickens and with Aubrey. Pickens is being tagged 28-7, I believe. I think Overshown's a good football player. I think they've stabilized the middle of their defense. You get Nakobe Dean in there. I think they need a corner. They may address that in the draft. I think they will. They need ends, linebackers, corners, safeties. And I would say they need more depth in their O-line. The Cowboys. I would say they need more depth in their lines. They're going to be better than you all think. They have resources. Yeah, but they're making resources now. Jeremiah Smith. Jeremiah Smith might be the second player taken behind Arch Manning next year. I think the heart of their defense is going to be Quinnen Williams. But you're going to have Overshown and Quinnen Williams in there and that other tackle. It's a pretty good group. Okay? That's always. We don't, what the F they need. We don't give a fuck what they need. Well, then beat them. Seals, you said last year the team with signings were preparing for 26. Now it's 27. Which is it? Okay. I'll address that. I did believe that they were mortgaging the future for 26. Damon, if they don't sign anybody and they don't sign Davis, they don't sign Carter, all the shit you guys were saying that one of the reasons you let Milton go, you let Sweat go, you let CJ go, you let Isaiah Rodgers go. You let all those guys, because you told me they're preparing to pay the guys this offseason. Well, if they don't sign anybody, then it is 27. And they've changed their room. Have they not? I agree. I was told that they were freeing money up because they couldn't sign everybody. Well, if they don't sign anybody in 26, they're mortgaging 26 too. How do you not look at it like that? If they don't give those two tackles inside new contract extensions, all that bullshit you told me about moving off of Sweat and those guys wasn't true. You can't sign everybody. Well, fuck, they didn't sign anybody. I was told by all of you, every one of you, that we're planning for a big 2026 signing of young players. When is that coming? By the way, you don't have to wait for Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter. They're under contract. So you're telling me Jaylen Phillips is more of a priority than Jalen Carter? So I'm going to assume this then, that the calendar is the priority for Howie. What's up first? Jaylen Phillips is first. That's the only way you can look at it, because Jaylen Phillips is not more of a priority than Jalen Carter. Or for that matter, even Jordan Davis. So Howie has to go by the calendar. Okay, so the calendar, and plus you have latitude, those guys are under contract. So I'm assuming he's going calendar. Now, I would think that Jaylen Phillips is the top guy, because why? He's a free agent in 5 days. AJ's not. Now, AJ Brown will affect my April draft if I do move off of him. By the way, if I do move off of him, the chances of you signing anybody? 0. Hey, let me ask you something here. Ask yourself this. If you move A.J. Brown, okay? If you move A.J. Brown, How much do you think that affects the signing of Jaylen Phillips and Jordan Davis? Because of the cap hits that AJ will have on the cap. If you move AJ, how are you signing Phillips? How are you signing Phillips, though? Watch what? You're going to have to take on the cap hit of AJ. Where are you getting the money from? You're going to have to restructure Hurts then to free up cap money. Where you get, dude, I mean, think about this. The cap went up. Let me take a look at one thing here. I want to show you something. The cap went up $22 million. And Eagles are only what, $8 million under the cap? That's not a ton. You got a ton in 27. Salary cap. 26. You got a lot of moving around to do here. You got a lot of salary cap. Okay. If you move A.J. Brown, follow me here. If you move A.J. Brown, okay, you're taking on that dead cap money. How are you signing Phillips? I could not wait until I gave, because yesterday we had Howard Eskin on. And when I said we were going to have Angelo Cataldi today, I don't know what it is with Howard's eyes. He's kind of like one of them cartoon character guys. He just starts rolling his eyes. And I just went, and I said to him, and I said, do you think that Jaylen Hurts is a good teammate? And he said no. He said that Jaylen Hurts could work on being a better teammate. All of you heard this. And I was like, wow. I go, do you think he's a good one? He goes, no. And, I go, is he liked in the locker room? Like, not particularly. And then I said, wait, is he approachable? He was like, well, kind of. He doesn't go out of his way to be a guy in the locker room. And I was like, well, I hadn't heard this before. But Howard Eskin, the man in the middle, who was in there, like Angelo said, right there on the sidelines, man. So Jaylen Hurts isn't a good teammate. And I'm going to open it up right now with my guy, one of the favorite people of all time. It is Angelo Cataldi, and he joins us right now. I keep him an extra couple of days. And I don't want him to get too worked up or anything here. So I want you to be all ready for this. And I asked Howard Eskin that question yesterday. He doesn't think Jaylen Hurts is a good teammate.
I just want to start by saying if I knew you had Eskin on yesterday, I would not have agreed to do this. I am not being paid for this. And now I'm questioning my own judgment in coming on this show since I am somehow in the same boat as Howard. Is Jaylen Hurts a good teammate? Here's the best answer I can give you. I don't care. You understand? When it's 3rd and 7, and Jaylen Hurts is dropping back, and A.J. Brown is running out about 8 yards, I don't give a damn who's anything, except the quarterback will throw the freaking ball, and the other guy will catch it, and they'll go first down, and everybody's happy. Why do I have to worry? When did it become a world, Dan, where I have to not only pay these guys 10, 15, 20, $30 million, I got to worry about whether they're freaking happy? I don't care if they're happy. I never cared if they're happy. I never befriended a player at any point in my life. I never wanted to be a friend of a player. I want to watch them perform and I want them to succeed on the teams I root for. Is that basic enough?
Yeah.
What do I give a damn whether A.J. Brown? And if A.J. Brown goes to the front office and goes, I'm not happy here, I need to leave, I would say to him, I'm paying you $27 million this year. Shut up and play. That's what I would do, Dan. All this other stuff is such horse crap. It's meaningless. And that's what Howard should have said to you.
AJ Brown. I happen to agree. AJ Brown. You just said it right now. So, Angelo, here's the problem, though. You take into possible collateral damage here if this guy starts the season and all of a sudden with these new Timu hirings at the coaching staff that you have with all these one-year guys who haven't done jack crap, all of a sudden you take into account here that this guy's going to be reading books on the sidelines. He's going to be even more of a distraction if you get closer to the trading deadline. I'm with you. You got 2 NFC titles. You're making $30 million. You got a Super Bowl ring. Why isn't he happy?
All right. Well, now you're on the real story, and that is the people that are truly determining the fate of these great athletes. Great athletes. If Sean Mannion can't call plays, and none of us knows, including Sean, if he's any good at it, since he's never done it. Yeah, he's going to have a problem with his troublemaking wide receiver and probably with his pouting quarterback and all that stuff. You got to get those hires right. And this is the thing. The Eagles held a news conference last week there. They gathered all the media from Philadelphia around. And Howie Roseman and Nick Seriani set the template right from the beginning. We want good players. We have some good players, and we're hoping to get more of them. Oh, slow down. I got to get all this down on my pad. You want good players, and then you want to get more good players? And then, I guess if you get enough, you're going to win. Oh, wow. This crap that we're being, all of it. This is the problem I have, Dan. When I was in that business for 33 years, I never once said, wow, what they're saying is garbage. It's not important. But then you become a fan. And my perspective now, having been through 3 years without having to go on the air every day, analyzing everything that was being said, what I finally realize is 97% of it is bullshit. I couldn't say that word. And all those years,
I love it.
Right? But it's all of this stuff. I don't. Why does anyone? Do they really think a guy trying to going out in a 9-to-5 job, grinding through every day, sits down and watches a sports event? Does he go, gee, I hope Joel Embiid is happy tonight. That's what's important to me. I know he's making $55 million this year, but that's not what matters to me. What matters is if when the game is over, he'll be pleased with himself and happy with his world. I don't give a crap about that. Do I care when George Clooney makes a movie, if he's thrilled after the movie, living in his palace in the south of Italy or wherever the hell he is? The point is, why should I care about the mindset of these guys? They are entertainers. I am watching them play. They're being paid enormous amounts of money for it. I just don't give a damn whether they're happy or not.
Okay, well then help me out on this one here. So this past Friday, it's funny you would mention that. So, Angelo, how would you have handled this? You bring in some of the most respected journalists in Philadelphia. You sit them in a room. You tell them to stay on a story and to stop reporting on stuff. And you tell them, and then you wait for them to come out at the combines the following Tuesday, and you let them have a head start, and you already know what's being said at the combines, and they told you not to say anything. What happened to Philadelphia media there, dude? I mean, you're not doing your job.
Did you say you started with the respected sports media people in Philadelphia?
I did.
I got a handful here. That's probably enough. I mean, there aren't many left. There aren't many left. Listen to them. Back when I went to school 100 years ago, You had to make a decision early on in journalism school. Am I going to go into journalism? Or am I going to branch out into public relations? Well, now the branch is all in public relations. No one asks the questions anymore. Joel Embiid, how many injuries is this now? Now he's got, and by the way, I'll come back on every day next week if Joel Embiid plays on Saturday when he is eligible to return. Because if he missed 1 week with this injury, that's not going to happen. All right. There'll be another 3 weeks. The point is that this stuff that's going on right now, somebody in the media needs to ask questions that would lead to actual news. I know it's unimaginable. And they should do it not worrying about whether they are alienating the coach or the general manager or the guy running PR, Bob Lango with the Eagles. Don't care. People are so distracted now by what the reaction is going to be. No, your job, if you're a media person, one job, find out what the fans are interested in and ask questions to get answers to what they're thinking about. That's the whole game. And nobody does it anymore. Nobody, I guess with social media and all the so many opinions floating around, they don't feel that that's their role anymore, but it still is.
Angelo,
we sit around? We don't know what's really happening in the inner sanctum.
Do you agree, Angelo, that when you do stuff like we do, when we're doing shows for such a long period of time, it becomes a lonely job in a way, because after a while, get this, like you said, I didn't give a shit about what teams said to me. I didn't care what a player said. I didn't want to be friends with these people. I didn't have friends like that. I had really good business acquaintances that, for me, inside of a business, that allowed me to have my critical views, because, again, I'm not going to fence straddle on anything here, but when I see that, the Nick Castellanos thing, you don't report on that. Then you're holding some sort of fireside chat. How do you know what's coming out of Novacare? Is it true? How do you know what's coming out of Daryl Morey's mouth when you know that guy should have been fired 2 years ago?
Yeah.
I mean, this guy's done nothing.
Nothing. And when he speaks, you realize that he doesn't appear capable of doing anything, that he's not a great thinker. It's weird and bizarre as his predecessor, Sam Hinkie, was. At least he could hide behind this weird demeanor to where you would go, well, maybe behind him, he's a real genius. No, there's no evidence that is true based on what he did in the short time he was a GM of the Sixers. But that's the whole point. I've reached the point now where, with a few exceptions, there's still a few people in sports that are truth tellers. But now, I base just about all my opinions now on what I see when I'm watching a sports event. That's how I do it now. Like I kept going back to that last meeting at the sideline, or 4th and 10 for the Eagles, where you saw Kevin Patullo and Nick Sirianni and Jaylen Hurts getting together, right? Nobody had to tell me what was going on there. I could see it. Even that moment, the head coach was deferring to his buddy who hadn't made a good play call all freaking year, right? He goes, yeah, you're going to make this one too. And it's a stupid play call. And you see Hurts kind of roll his eyes like, well, I'll be back on the sideline in a second. This will be over. And you go, that's how I base my opinions at. I could see it. Otherwise, what? Serriani, is he going to shed any light on that moment?
No.
Is he going to say something where you're going to go, oh, that's what was that? No. You know why? He doesn't give a damn about the fan. He cares about one thing, keeping his locker room happy. That's all he cares about. And there's too much of that going on now. Too many people trying to be friends with too many people. Guess what? The minute it's over, you're a sport. You know why Howard's in the locker room, or was until a couple of years ago when they finally gave him the boot? Because he wanted to be one of them. He wanted to befriend them. He did befriend some of them. Barkley, Schmidt, some of them took them in. And, at that point, he had to swear to secrecy if he found something that in some way infringed upon his buddies. But the fact is, I never wanted to be that. Right? First of all, I learned when I was about 9 that I would not be in locker rooms very long as a performer because I sucked. Yeah, that doesn't mean you can't do the job of being in there, getting information that serves the fans. And it's just too many people now trying to make friends. The minute that player retires, you'll never see him again.
I'll tell you,
friend. He's
Angelo,
not your friend.
You just said it. You want to stay in the locker room a long time. You
Yeah.
don't befriend these guys. You want to stay. You want to get knocked out of the locker room.
Yep.
Start being buddies with some of them. I'll show you how you're not going to last. You want to last in this business? You can't be friends because you know why? You're going to say something critical and somebody's going to take it sideways and you're going to go, hey, that's just the way I do business.
Dan, 2 of the highlights of my career was 2 attempted assaults on me in locker rooms. The Flyers coach, Bob McCammon, came after me, and Ray Ellis came after me, the Eagles defensive back, because they didn't like something I had written. It's like,
wow.
I didn't write it for you. I wrote it for the fans. If you didn't like it, that's fine. Give me a response. I'll print your response. You have every right to give your side of whatever the story was. But I'm
not here for you.
I am not going to kowtow to you. Do you understand? Whether you realize it or not, these players or these coaches, whether they realize it or not, I'm helping them because I'm adding interest to their sport, which leads to higher TV revenue, which leads to more money for the players, right? That's my role. You want to come after me, you didn't like what I wrote or whatever. The only guy left in us, there's only one left. Marcus Hayes is the only guy who's still writing stuff that he knows is going to offend people in these sports teams. No one else is going near it anymore, Dan, because they don't want to deal with the negative feedback they're going to get from the team they cover.
What did you mean by this? At this most recent press gathering, Jeffrey Lurie said that there are no words to describe the close relationship between he and his Eagles and his beloved and adoring fans. This is AngeloCataldi.com, by the way. Make sure you read this fabulous thing right here. By the way, the man bought the team for $185 million. It's worth $6.7 billion, probably with a value of
8.5 now.
$8.5 billion. There it is, right there. Billion. I see it. What did you mean by this, Angelo?
All right. Well, here's the story of that. It all begins where I got an email last week, toward the end of last week, from a season ticket holder for the Eagles of the past 23 years. And this season ticket holder he had an actual chart of exactly how much he has paid over those 23 years each season for the season tickets. And it's more than double. He had 2 seats on the 20-yard line. He was paying $2,500 for the 2 seats 9 years ago. Now he's paying $5,300 this year, coming up the next season. 9 years. And he showed me, he proved it. Every single one of the 9 years, he had a ticket hike. He had to pay more. Every one of the 9 years. It's all there in writing. It's all legit. And before that, Lurie had the sense not to do it every year. So he would raise the ticket prices, give you a couple of years with the same numbers, then go up. It was about every 3 years for a while. And now he does it every year. And here's what he's saying, which is, I can't tell you how much I love you people. You're so important to my franchise. And on the very other side, that's the words. The act is, let's grab a few more bucks out of these hardworking people. Let's squeeze a little more out of them because we can. Because we are the kings of the mountain. We are the NFL. And we will force these people to scrimp and save. This guy's got to pay $5,300 to go to 9 regular season games next year and 2 meaningless preseason games. $5,300. And then if they make the playoffs, guess what? It's like last year. He gets to pay another $600. It's greed. It's unmitigated greed. And I already know the counter argument because I've heard the Eagles make it to me when I was doing this on the air. They go, well, first of all, if you can't pay it, don't pay it. Just watch the game on TV. That's their first attitude. And the second is all the other teams do it. And you're going, well, hold on. Okay. Yeah, a lot of the other teams do it. I'm not going to say all the other teams. But there's only one team whose owner called his fans the best in the world. And that's Jeffrey Lurie, who now owns a franchise worth $8.5 billion. He can't give those fans a break then. Is he going to go starving? He can't help these fans that he loves so much.
Do you think that you think he takes advantage of the Philadelphia Eagle fans because of their passion?
100%. And so does everybody else in that organization who pays lip service to how much they love these fans. Nick Seriani, what a bunch of fans. That's 1 minute. The next minute, he's lecturing them on how to behave, right? And then they ask a question that a fan wants an answer to. Guess what? You ain't getting it from him. So that what they say doesn't have significance. It's how they act, what they do. And they are gouging the fans in this town. They are making it like the Flyers in the 70s. Flyers in the 70s had a blue-collar audience. They are regular guys paying regular prices to see a team they love. And then they started charging more and more and more. And even to this day, you're not seeing many of those blue-collar people in any of those games. They're too expensive. They can't afford them. Does anybody care about that fan?
No way. You're bringing now up why the control then of the media, because they don't want a negative narrative out there that would take that in any way, shape, or form. The coach has got to be looked at as a centerpiece in the community. The quarterback's got to be looked at as a centerpiece. The owner's got to be. So the PR department is actually sometimes you would think is more important than actually the coaching staff. Because if you're going to gouge your fans like that, Angelo, and you're going to 65,000 fans and you're charging $5,000 to $6,000 a year and you're raising rents and you're raising rates every single year. I mean, you're not going to let a negative narrative go out.
Well, the PR departments are way more important than they were when I started in the business 40-some years ago. All right? Way more important. But the problem you have is that the independent voice in this mechanism, the press, the media, they become part of the PR department now. They become part of it. You should see some of these people. Some of this stuff they're writing is so stupid that you say to yourself, it's like, here's one here, right? This is written in a context. It's on Philly Voice right now. Written in the context of how amazing Sean Mannion is, right? When Nick Seriani did the 17 interviews with his candidates, right? 17 candidates, offensive coordinator. When he sat down with Sean Mannion, Nick Seriani wasn't sure what he wanted in an offensive coordinator. And then he listened to Mannion, and then he knew. All right, there you go. Well, first of all, I don't know what the hell Mannion was saying. I heard him talk. It wasn't that impressive to me. But that's not the point, all right? What I read out of that, what I would have written if that was my take on this situation was, Nick Sirianni's been the head coach of the Eagles for 5 years. He has just gotten through a debacle with offensive coordinator. He's whiffed on 2 of the last 3 offensive coordinators. And he went into a meeting with one of 17 candidates to take that job. He didn't really know for sure what he wanted. If he doesn't know by now what kind of an offensive coordinator would be able to fit in with this group of highly talented players, he shouldn't be the head coach. He should know that. That's the real story, not that Sean Mannion's so amazing. So because I'm a troublemaker, Dan, I went back to last year. I went back 1 year ago to compare what Serriani said about Petula to what Serriani said about Mannion. He didn't even change the words. He used the same word, which most people have never used in their entire lives. The word mesh. He said, what I love about Mannion is how he can mesh the run game with the passing game, with creativity, the mesh. And I'm going, oh, the mesh last year was horrible. Now the mesh is good. You didn't even change the words, Dan.
Oh my God.
Guess what? Nobody, even the people that covered both news conferences these 2 years, nobody went, well, wait a minute. You can't sling the same shit every year. At least change the words. At least do something different, right? No, I'm telling you, it's mind-boggling to have done that job and done it the way it's supposed to be done and watch the way it's done now and feel nausea. Nausea. Man. Nobody wants to rock any boats.
Man, Angelo, a couple more here for you. So, okay, if it's you, do you get rid of AJ or do you not?
No, I wasn't. Remember, since I don't give a damn about whether these guys are happy, here's what I know: that guy can play.
He can.
Now, the one thing is, all right. The one thing is, there's somebody who really knows that. It's the New England Patriots and their coach, who I'm blanking on for
Mike Vrabel.
Yeah, Vrabel. Vrabel knows how great AJ Brown is because he didn't want to lose him when he was in Tennessee.
Correct.
So Vrabel may just say, I got to have that guy. We don't have enough playmakers like him. We made the Super Bowl, but come on, we're short of talent, and make an offer so great that you have to take it. But it'd have to be phenomenal. They say that the asking price for Brown right now is really, really high. Keep it there. If somebody does it, all right, then you consider it. But otherwise, unless you know somebody else who can make the plays that AJ Brown can make, I'm not getting rid of him because I don't care how happy people are. I want to make myself happy by having my team win. That's what I care about, my happiness.
Okay, Nick Sirianni here. His year coming up in 26. In your opinion, you're making all these drastic changes with all these guys and all these first-year guys, all these young coaches. You lose Stoutland for a guy, Chris Cooper, I've never heard of. You've got like all these run game guys that have never really had a job. How is his job security going into 26? Do you think, because again, there's really no experience on this coaching staff now offensively. The experience is on the D side, which he doesn't even have any say, it seems, in of any kind whatsoever. I mean, no say almost. I mean, so your opinion going into 26, is Nick Sirianni on thin ice or is he on strong ice? Is this guy's job safe?
Very thin. No.
Wow.
And here's why. And I experienced this personally. People that are around Serriani for as long as his bosses have been around him understand his shortcomings. One of which is he's not overly bright. All right. So the fact is, he whiffed on his offensive coordinator 2 years ago. He got it right last year. This year was another disaster. And here comes another coordinator. If he misses 3 out of 4, Dan, I don't think I'm way out here on this. I told you, I think they're going to have a losing season. I think they'll go like 8 and 9, something like that. I got
7 wins.
All right.
I got 7 wins.
Okay. Whatever it is, 7 wins. Nick, get your suitcase. You're leaving. He's out. 8 wins. He's gone. First round elimination next year. Probably gone. Because they know this is not Bill Walsh. They know this is not Vince Lombardi. They're around him every day. And they realize the only way Nick Sirianni can win is have an elite roster and really great assistants who do most of the heavy lifting. And it's worked, so you can't get rid of the guy. He won a Super Bowl 2 years ago. But you got to understand that they already know the guy is not what it appears, not what his record indicates. So, yeah, he's one and done right now, I think.
He's 7-7 over the last 14 games, by the way, this last year, because the first month of the season, I like to call it liar's month because you never really know what you're going to get. So, all right, I got to ask you about Daryl Morey. I mean, listen, seriously. I had a conversation yesterday with Howard on this, and I got to tell you, we went back to Houston, and the only move that I can remember that he's made in his career was the Harden move from OKC to Houston. And other than that, has he made a good move at all in Philadelphia? At all, any move has he made? Maybe the drafting of the young kid.
Edgecombe is definitely definitely a good draft. I guess Maxey was already here, right?
Maxey was already here. He didn't do it.
Morey stinks. Morey. The irony of the whole thing is they had Hinkie, who worked for Morey, and they said, "Oh, all we got to do is move up a level and get the guy that was the boss of Hinkie. It will be fine." Never realizing that neither one of them had that much going on, right? Morey is awful at his job, all right? The fact is, what are they going to do? All right, they're going to blow it again this year. They're not going anywhere. Everyone knows that. Did you see NBC throwback night? Right? At what point did Bob Costas want to go back into retirement? It was a 50-point lead by the Spurs at one point. In Philadelphia, all right? And you go, well, right, Embiid's got an oblique now. That's going to be another few weeks. They come back with 12 games to go. Oh, here comes Paul George. Oh, good, we got the whole team together. They're out in the first round. There are half a dozen teams that are clearly better than them, no doubt about it. If they face any of them in the first round, they're gone. Now what?
What do you make of Embiid's time in Philadelphia? We were talking about this. I'm like, my God, Malone would destroy this guy.
Yeah.
I mean, a guy like Akeem would ruin this dude going up and down the court. Look, Ben Simmons was a train wreck. I get it. But isn't this because of the money a bigger train wreck?
You're already anticipating my next blog post, which I've started working on already. I'll give you the headline now. All right. He's the $500 million bust. He is already under contract. He's under contract for 13 seasons. This is
55 large.
55 this year. Total amount in his 13 contracts, when he is done with this contract, will be $514 million.
$500 million.
And they haven't yet made a conference final. All right. This is the bust to end all busts, Dan. And the fact is, the kid is made of tissue paper. He can't stay healthy. He can't. Oh, he's back. Oh, his knee's better. He's going to play. Oblique. And then it's the same script over and over. Oh, he hurt himself. He crashed into the Celtics play left. He comes back. Oh, my God. You can hear the Rocky theme behind him, right? And then he winces and hobbles for the rest of the night. They lose anyway. And he milked the drama. Then, he can't play. He's hurt. He had an MRI. He's out. He's the first man in history who will recover from an oblique injury in 1 week. No, he's done. Dan, he's done. The only question is, when he finally is done, if they're going to fail again this year, everyone's going to know, come on, it's over. Now Daryl Morey has to find a way to get something for Joel Embiid on the open market. Do you have any faith that Daryl Morey's going to be able to do that?
No, absolutely not. Zero.
No chance. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's awful. He's awful.
I mean, I'm starting to feel sorry for Elton Brand. Like, I mean, I'm starting to go, I thought Elton Brand was bad, but I don't know.
He was
Elton Brand looks pretty damn good compared to this guy.
Everything's relative. You're right, but Elton Brand actually did suck. All right,
He did.
He was not good either. All right,
no, he was not. I got one last
threw
one
money
here.
at everybody. No, Dan, it all comes down to it. It's the reason we've had a couple of parades in the last 10 years, courtesy of the Eagles, because their general manager, Howie Roseman, knew how to build a team. He did. Now he's having a hard time finding people to run that team on the field during the game. But he's still got a team capable of winning a championship. He just doesn't have the people running it who can.
Last one for you. I got to go Phillies here. And I had a conversation with Bob Nightingale, who you know, and Bob Nightingale was like, what's the deal going on with Dombrowski and Harper? And I'm like, I don't know. He hit 260 something and he had 27 homers. And all I heard him say was, well, hey, we need a little more out of him. You think the Phillies do you think that they regret the length of the contract? Not the player, but do you think they regret the length of it? Because I'm starting to see the back end of this contract like the Pujols contract with the Angels, where you looked at the last 4 years of that and you were going like this, my God almighty, I can't wait for this thing to run out, because that's not the same player that I saw in St. Louis.
Right.
Is he starting to all of a sudden wear that out right now in Philly?
I would like you to name for me one team that was pleased with giving a player a 13-year contract anywhere. Miami did it with Giancarlo Stanton, and he's still hanging, but he's like Embiid. He can't stay on the field, right?
That's right.
When you do 13 years, there's no way to project what he's going to be like on the other end of his career. You can't. It's not a good idea. The bigger issue for me is what's going on with Harper and the way he's speaking right now. Because first he got so upset because Dombrowski said he didn't have an elite season, which everybody knew was true. Yeah. Now he comes out the other day, he's on Pat McAfee on ESPN, and he's representing the United States in the World Baseball Classic. And he goes, all he's done for the 8 years he's been in Philly is tell us how much he's devoted to this city and how he knew this was the place for him because of the people that ran it and the owner and all this. And this was love at first sight when they sat down with his Scott Boras, his agent, right? Now he's on McAfee the other day, and he goes, it really came down to the Phillies and the Giants. And pretty sure I probably would have gone for the Giants if Bruce Bochy didn't announce that he was retiring as a manager at the end of that season. This is what he said there, right? You go, well, so we weren't even your first pick. All this love and devotion you have for Philadelphia would have gone right down the drain if Bruce Bochy decided he wanted to keep managing. Really? So then all the other stuff he said couldn't have been true.
Right.
This love he has. Oh, he loves us so much. He'd be in his 8th season with the Giants right now, probably also without having a championship yet. But that's what I'm trying to say. The whole message of today is whatever they're saying, the odds are very strong. It's bullshit. Watch what you see and make your opinions based on that. Your eyes will tell you the truth.
The last person on IP is Rhea.
Yes.
Every single time. True. That's the last person on that network and on that station that actually comes out and says things that I enjoy her saying. I mean, too bad they don't give her more of a role than they should. However, I mean, damn, Angelo.
You are right, Mr. And there's one other person who's telling the truth every day. And I'm looking at him right now.
Oh, Angelo. Thank you so much, my friend.
The last two people standing are Rhea Hughes and Dan Sileo.
Boy, that is so great. Thank you so much, my friend. By the way, AngeloCataldi.com. This headline here, hey, I saw it this morning and I go, Lori wins even when he loses.
The truth. Look at that. He's got $8.5 billion now. That country.
Oh, Oh my God, Angelo. I approve. Angelo, one day, you know what? One day I got a dream. Can I tell you what that last dream is here before you go?
Yeah.
I would love to have and do a show one day, a radio show with you one day
Mm.
and Rhea. You, me, and Rhea. Just
That'd
doing
be a
a
good
radio
show.
show. And
Not-
I'll sit in chair 2 for the first time in my career. I'll sit in chair 3 with Rhea there.
Yeah, you should.
And
Yeah, that's about what you would.
We'll sit there and we'll do something like that. That would be a dream of mine.
Dan, it would be my dream too, but not in the morning. I don't get up that early anymore.
Angelo, thank you so much, my friend. That is the great Angelo Cataldi. Absolutely, man. I love him. He is so good. He is, man. Good stuff there. By the way, hit the like button, baby. You heard it. You heard it right here. The last of the Mohegans. That's what this show is. It's the last of the Mohegans. How you doing? Put Sills in the corner. Hold on here. Let's see if we got any more here. Maybe we missed some supers here. Let's see. By the way, Battle Royale at the bottom of the hour. How you doing? Let's see what we got here. I learned how to scroll, by the way. At least Lindros made the finals with his injuries. Great take. That is a great take. He did. Got knocked out by Stevens, but we're good. Patriots are releasing Stefon Diggs. Oh, no way. Is that really happened? Oh, no. You got it. Here it is. Is this true? Stefon Diggs. Is this he's being released? Hold on over here. Let me go over here. Patriots to release Stefon Diggs. It's becoming a reality. Man, I'm going to have one of the greatest off seasons again. New England Patriots have informed veteran wide receiver Stefon Diggs he will be released at the start of the 2026 league year next week. Diggs' salary charge was set to raise from $10.5 million to $26.5, which was the catalyst for the move. If he was on the roster by the end of next week, he would have had an additional $6 million added to his contract. Diggs posted a message on his Instagram. Thank you for a hell of a year. We're family forever. Diggs, 32, had signed a 3-year, $69 million deal with the Patriots last March. Voila. Here we are a year later. Out the door. He totaled a team-high 85 catches for 1,013 yards with 4 TDs during the Patriots' postseason run to Super Bowl 60. Doing. Diggs, however, also faces a felony strangulation charges. I call him the Boston Strangler now. And now, does this make a move for potentially reuniting A.J. Brown in New England with Mike Vrabel? Diggs is out. We want 2 firsts for AJ now. Oh, wait a minute here. What is up? Stefon Diggs, the first domino to fall. Is that the landing spot that we have been reporting for the last month? That the Patriots are the team. 1 and a 3. A.J. Brown. Sills has been dying for the Eagles to fail for a while. Why would I want to cover the Jets? Why in God's name would I want to cover the Jets or the Cardinals? If they release 85 catch Diggs, then as a deal is pretty much done. The A.J. Brown. That's a great take, DFW. You just cut loose a dude that had 85 catches. Who do you think you're replacing him with? A draft pick? Romeo Dobbs? Who do you think you're replacing that guy with? No way you could and had AJ and Diggs in the same locker room. There you have it. Now you're thinking. Told you from the jump, you're not getting 2 ones. That's not happening. Alec Pierce is going to the Patriots, not AJ, per Jordan Schultz. So let me ask you this. Alec Pierce is the guy going to New England for Drake May and not A.J. Brown. If I'm going to pay $30 million, why don't I just pay it to A.J.? Why would I pay it to a dude like Alec Pierce? If I'm paying $30 million, I'm paying for that guy. I didn't say he wasn't good. I did not say he wasn't. $30 million. They just cleaned cap space. Let me see if we get anything else in here for this thing here. Hold on here. Okay. Yeah. Because the Eagles have to agree he's not a free agent. Hold on here. Okay. Good call. He's not a free agent. You heard what Angelo said. I don't get. By the way, Nick Sirianni's not that smart. That's great. Glad I didn't say it. So here, hey, Josh. So here's what you got working now. A.J. Brown doesn't want to be in that offense. He bitched and moaned about it when they were winning. Now with the new coaches that are in there, Patriots not getting A.J. Watch. I will come back and laugh at all the A.J. Brown bandwagon fans now. Why would they be bandwagon fans? A.J. Brown's a really good football player. What are you talking about? Bandwagon. Okay? Why would it be bandwagon? I don't think anybody in there doesn't think the guy's a good football player. And there's a lot of people that agree if the guy's moved, it's not going to – if they move that guy, they're taking a step back. Diggs to Baltimore, watch. Hey, Damon, how about Diggs to Tampa if Mike Evans leaves? Going down to Tampa. Keep an eye on that. Because I think if Mike Evans is not signed by the end of the week, I think his agent, Derek Gilmore, is going to test free agency. And I could also see Stefon Diggs in Kansas City. Chills, have you ever played the game Don't Break the Ice? That's Serriani in 26. Rams get better. They trade for McDuffie. Completely got better. They improved their secondary big time. Kansas City's going to get draft picks and free up some money. They're going to get better. You know why? They got a great GM. Brett Veach has done a great job with all the Super Bowls they've been in. Kansas City will retool. Plus, they have Mahomes. So those Patriots are stupid if they don't offer a first for AJ. They made the Super Bowl with old man Diggs and Mac Hollins. They would be contenders for the next few years. Dude, you put A.J. Brown in that New England Patriots offense with that running attack and that defense, they'll own the AFC East again. Because what are the Bills doing? What are the Bills doing right now? Now, again, it's early in the process here. Let me see something here, too. I want to see if they've adjusted that yet. If they've adjusted it. Cowboys have to free more money up. But I think they're on their way with those 3 players that they're going to restructure over the next couple days. Diggs is too busy doing all the pink coat. Yeah, they were never going to keep him, but he was productive for him. How about Diggs to jail? To each his own. Not playing a last place schedule again. And I think there is something to that. But I also happen to say this too, Mike. They're going to play a top and first place schedule, true. But they are also going to play 8 games against the AFC East. You're going to be playing the Dolphins, which will suck. You're going to play the Jets, that will suck. And most notably there, you're going to get an opportunity with those 2 teams. You might sweep those 2 teams. That should be 4 wins right there. Bean thinks he's done enough at the wide receiver position. Yeah, that Keon Coleman thing is dumb. Dude is a caboose. Allen is everything for that team. Absolutely. Agree 150%. I completely agree. Drake May looked like a bum. Drake May was playing against 4 of the top 5 defenses in pro football in the playoffs. And they still got to the Super Bowl. And by the way, name me another guy in that offense that was worth the shit. Can you? Eagle, name me a guy that was, how about this? Hey, Drake, you know the team that got to the Super Bowl? They beat 2 teams that beat you. The Broncos, and they beat the Chargers. Can you name me one player on that offense that would start in Philly? Name me one guy that would start from that Patriots offense that went to the Super Bowl. Name me one guy. Okay. Who else? So, you think Hunter Henry? Name me one skilled guy that they have on that team that would play in New England. Or that would play in Philly. Drake May. Cowboys restructured Dak and Tyler Smith today. They still have CD and other. I thought they also did CD Lamb today. DFW. Goddard is way better than Henry. Way better than Henry. Get this. He thinks Diggs would start over A.J. Brown or Devontae. Diggs is number 1, dude. So their number 1 would be the number 3 in Philly. Is that your take? And then they don't have anybody. Diggs was the number 1 wide receiver in New England. He was at the number 3 wideout. There's not one skilled player in New England that would play in Philly and start in Philly. Tight end, running back, wide receivers. Nobody. Nobody. Yeah. So, you're right, Marsh. The Patriots' best receiver, their number 1, would be a 3 on the Eagles. That's my point. That was their number 1. And if you're going 1, he ain't beating out A.J. Brown. This time of year is a Super Bowl for the Cowboys. That's not what I said. What about their running back? You think their running back? What was his name? I like that kid too, man. God, what's his name? He's really good. But I'd still take Saquon. You could save that, dude. You're not getting Gonzalez. Yeah, Stevenson. By the way, Battle Royale. Cowboys making some moves. Howie needs to figure out a way to get Max Crosby and keep AJ and keep Reed and get a new tight end. but it's looking rocky so far. And hang in there. Let's see what he does. Okay? See what he does. You really think Josh McDaniels are going to elevate AJ's play? Wait a minute. That's a great take. So wait a minute. That's an unbelievable take. Way to go. What's your name? Tizzle. Hey, dude, who do you think is going to put AJ in a better position to be successful this coming 2026 season? Ask yourself this, Tizzle. Josh McDaniels, who was just named the assistant coach of the year, or what's the guy's name? Sean Mannion. Oh, shit. Sean Mannion or Josh McDaniels. I mean, who do you think is going to put that guy? Sean Mannion. $16.35 million in dead cap post June 1. Whoo! Man. I'll tell you what, if I'm Mark Holmes, man, I'm feeling pretty good about this moment, baby. I bet Mark is all like shaved up, got a nice haircut. He's seeing the offseason going. Jerry just said this. Well, I'm as old as Skeletor right now. And what I was going to do here is tell you boys what we're going to do one last time. I'm going to get that Kenny Clark, and I'm going to get my boy, what's his name? Oh, yeah, Williams, Quentin Williams. Get your boys in here right now. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you a bag of money up front. We're going to lower that number. You're going to make me a nice offer here. We're going to sit down, and we're going to play some ball for the next 2 years. How you doing? Then what we're going to do is we're going to get us that kid that the Eagles can't decide on because they can't seemingly decide on shit right now. I'm going to get me Colby Dean. Then I'm going to put that homie in there. Then I'm going to go to CD. Then I'm going to go and I'm going to say, right now you're about $10 million under the salary cap because they had to get that number down because they were over to 301-2. So what we're going to do is we're going to sit down and we're going to say, Steven, sit down, Steven. We got to get that cap up at around $43 million. And we're going to get us Maxie Crosby. And we're going to get Maxie Crosby. And we're going to put Maxie Crosby right next to Quentin Williams. Maxie Crosby, Quentin Williams, Kenny Clark, the other big horse they got in there. And then they're going to draft an edge rusher. Or they might keep with that kid they got a year ago. Then they're going to go in there and draft a corner, in my opinion. And they're going to make that defense a little better. Get a little more depth in the offensive line. Dallas Cowboys have a chance to go out and win themselves the NFC East this coming year. How you doing? And what's old Philly 500 doing? You know what they're doing with the Philly 500? You got to decide on Jaylen Phillips. So here, we got to set the table here. So you got to decide on Jaylen Phillips, Nakobe Dean, cornerback 2. Then you got to go, what am I doing with AJ? I can't hurt her feelings. Then I gotta decide on wide receiver 3, and my whole entire tight end group might be gone. Damn. And then Mark Holmes is sitting back, and I see Dak and all them guys all excited. Damn. Cowboys get Crosby and sign Dean. They draft defense, have Pickens and CD. Final question is, can they overcome choking in the playoffs? Well, let's do this. You guys told me all year long Sam Darnold was a turtle. And you told me that guy was a pumpkin. And you told me that guy was a bum based off of last year and based off of all the teams that cut him and moved on from him. If Sam Darnold can win a Super Bowl, Dak Prescott can win one. I mean, oh, and by the way, real quick, we made this comment yesterday. Before I bring old Mark Holmes in here, when Philly 500 shows up, I don't know if Philly 500 is going to show up today. Okay, I don't know, but I know this. So Mark's in the green room, and I'm going to say, so is it right? And am I right The Seattle Seahawks are moving off the Super Bowl MVP? So they're moving off of Kenny Walker? Wait, I thought Super Bowl MVP mattered. I thought Super Bowl MVP made you a legend. I thought Super Bowl MVP was like the shit. And what do Eagle fans say? Mic drop. You win the Super Bowl MVP? That's a mic drop. Well, hell, Seattle just told the guy who just won the MVP award, he went like this. Yeah, no, we're not paying you $13 million. And I'll see you later. Hey, did the Dallas Cowboy running back get more money than the Seattle Seahawks MVP in the Super Bowl? How about this? Before I bring Mark in, so the Cowboys paid their guy more than what Seattle wanted to pay the Dallas Cowboy running back? So the Cowboy running back is a better player than the Super Bowl MVP? How in God's name is that possible? Man. Look at how the teams are now. Here, by the way, I want to do this again. Mark is waiting for us, so we're gonna get him in here when they're both here. But here, look at this here. Here's what I would say with the Cowboys. Here's the Cowboys. This is from Bledsoe. And here's the Dallas Cowboys offseason so far, which they've just freed up dough. They got Donovan Wilson, Kenneth Murray, Logan Wilson. Every one of these guys are expendable just about. Sam Williams, Jalen Tolbert, Jadeveon Clowney, who didn't play awful for them, Dante Fowler, Jack Sanborn, Miles Sanders, later, Corey Ballantyne, C.J. Godwin, and Peyton Turner and Robert Jones. I'll see you guys later. It's all good. Here's what Bledsoe wrote about the Cowboys. This is what Eagle fans and Philly 500 doesn't like to hear. The Dallas Cowboys own the worst scoring defense in football, averaging 30.1 points per game allowed. That is only the second worst in the 66 years of the Dallas Cowboys. And only the 1960 squad, which was the first season. It was the expansion team that the inaugural season where they gave up 30.8. Think about that in today's NFL. So the 1960 team gave up 30.8. This team gave up 30.1. That's insane. That's utterly insane how bad that defense was this past year. Dallas's edge rusher position was heavily depleted in a post-Michael Parsons world. Sam Williams, Jadeveon Clowney, Peyton Turner, Dante Fowler are all set to hit free agency. Dallas needs to address the position and other linebackers. Overshown, who I think is a really good player, after a disastrous season at that spot, cornerback, particularly at the nickel corner position, needs work. Pickens is getting tagged and has tagged. Brandon Aubrey is a guy that, to me, has to be signed because he's a weapon. I would say this in needs. Defensive end, linebacker, corner, safety, and I would say offensive line depth. If the Cowboys can address that in free agency and they can address that in the draft, I would say that the Dallas Cowboys are aimed in the right direction. All right. I don't know, man. I got to say it here. I got it. I don't know. I think Philly 500's bailing on us here because of all the stuff that's going on. So I got to do it here, man. Without further ado, I don't know what's happened. He's a no-show. The man who's got his football team headed in the right direction. One of the best content creators with the Dallas Cowboys. He is my friend, the legend himself, Mark Hope. He joins us now.
Hold up. You're bullshitting me that Philly 500 didn't show.
No, no. I think he's working on the I think just like Howie, they got a lot of decisions to make.
I was sitting here today. Now, see, you know what? Since I got the floor, I won't be rudely interrupted. Let me piss off Eagle fans right now. Now, see, you guys are all wearing your freaking green glasses here, your green colored glasses, okay? You think that Howie Roseman is forever going to save you guys and that Howie can't do any wrong. But I'm going to tell you that today I was sitting here, and it's probably bullshit, but I saw a tweet that the Eagles are fielding calls for Saquon Barkley, right? Dallas Goedert, the good goodbye. And they're talking about bringing back Zach Ertz. You know how bad that is? That's like we let go Tony Pollard and brought back Zeke.
Yeah.
Didn't he just tear his ACL like 6 weeks ago?
They're listening to conversations about Barkley now?
That's what I saw, that they are taking calls. Now, people can always call and say, hey, you're going to trade him? No, we're not going to trade him. But that was a rumor. I'm going to tell you, the Eagles are hitting the reset button. They're rebuilding. Listen, you got Vic Fangio, one more year. He had to be talked out of retirement. You lost one of your young studs in Christian Parker. You're losing Reed Blankenship. You're losing your green dot in the Kobe Dean. You lost your offensive line coach. Your offensive line, we've talked about, needs to be rebuilt. Saquon's not the same guy he was a year ago.
And I think you guys,
line guy. Nick is on the hot seat along with Jaylen Hurts. You guys are fucking rebuilding.
Oh my God! Listen. Without further ado, here I got to tell you, man, you guys clearing cap space. Gonna go out in free agency, maybe get Maxie Crosby and add him to the mix.
Yeah.
What are the Eagles going to do? And here he is, folks.
Oh, he showed up.
Further ado, my friend, Philly 500. He joins us now. Philly, how you doing?
They call him Fart Holmes. And that's exactly what he is. Coming on with bullshit. Bullshit. And first of all, I was on time. You keeping me back in there on purpose long to make it look like I'm scared and late. 500 here. 500 don't shake. This team ain't rebuilding. This team's about to kick Dallas's ass yet again. And I just think it's great that Mark Holmes puts more stock and talks more shit in February, March now, before the free agency even starts, but he gets real quiet in December, don't he? Real quiet when it matters. That's right. So keep talking your shit, because the same thing that happened for the last 30 years is going to take place. Look at it.
You know what, Philly? You are riding the fence right now of rebuilding or trying to go for another.
What do you mean rebuilding? Man, nobody's rebuilding. Bro, you look at how come you believe the stupid tweets up about trading Saquon Barkley, but when it comes to Dallas, oh no, everything is wrong, everything is fake. You know that that's bullshit trading Saquon Barkley. Stop.
You know your team has taken some major hits this offseason, bro.
Where? What hit, Mark?
Coaching?
What hit? We haven't. Free agents hasn't started. What hit?
Brown.
Who does Jacoby Dean play for right now? Who does he play for? He plays for the Eagles. Who does A.J. Brown play for? He plays for the Eagles.
Okay,
you
Philly.
haven't done shit yet.
Okay, Philly, let me ask you this then. So Monday's legal tampering, and that's when teams can sign a guy. You have to post-date him until the 11th of March when the new year has started.
Oh, but Mark will tell you Dallas is already tampering. They're illegal
tampering's going on. We know that.
But wait a minute here. Wait a minute, Philly. So you would agree then that Jaylen Phillips is the property of the Philadelphia Eagles for the next 5 days, right?
Yes, I do.
Well, then why haven't they offered him a deal?
I don't know that they're going to.
Bro,
I don't know if the money's going to work out. But if they decide to part ways with Jaylen Phillips, that doesn't mean that the Eagles are admitting to some sort of rebuild.
So if you lose Phillips, you lose a third-round pick that you traded for him. And how are you replacing that? Are you going to go free agent?
Well, I mean, that's what we got to see. I would think they do it in free agency. I believe it will be done in free agency. I believe Jaylen Phillips and that situation will determine how free agency goes. I believe A.J. Brown in that trade will determine how the draft goes.
Okay. How about you? Big news, Mark. Big news. You guys restructured contracts. You got some money under the cap. I mean, you still got work to do. If you want to
still
be
got
the
an
player
ass
Jerry does.
defense.
Okay.
You still ain't got not one free agent yet. You haven't signed anybody yet. You've done nothing.
But bring back Pickens. We've already, even with Pickens on the
And you had him
franchise,
last year.
even with Pickens on the franchise tag, currently we have $8 million. Okay. And there's still a lot of contracts that they can work on. They've already said they're going to work on restructuring Osundigazua, which will be $12 million. Kenny Clark is another one that they're looking at probably extending him to reduce his $21 million. And Quentin Williams, they can flip the trigger on him and get another 12. So probably what they're looking at, because they're not going to do everybody, probably looking at about $55 to $60 million of money that is possible to spend. Will they spend? I don't know.
On what?
Well, allegedly, Max Crosby is down to pretty much the Bears and the Cowboys, allegedly. That's what
the Raiders. That's what Spy Tech.
Yeah.
The word is in Indianapolis that if they're going to move them, they're going to move them with the Cowboys.
Yeah.
And they're going to Cowboys. And like you said, I mean, Spy Tech, if they're going to move the guy, you're going to have to move a dude with $30 million.
Yeah. That's a big chunk of that money that's right there. And at least a first round pick and maybe another player. I mean, that's a lot. And I'm really on the fence on that and say, am I better off doing that? Or am I better off going ahead and getting like a Bradley Chubb? I think Mika Fitzpatrick is going to be released. For the money that you're going to pay Max Crosby, get Bradley Chubb and Mika Fitzpatrick.
How about this? How about this here, Philly?
Well, maybe we'll flip the triggers.
How about you do this?
You ain't got nothing to flip there, bro.
Maybe we'll flip the triggers.
I think he does.
Remember the Cowboys. We flip the triggers.
Tell me what you make of this. If this guy really does want out, why not trade him to the Raiders? And here, follow me. You trade him to the Raiders for Crosby. You get your edge rusher. He makes 30. AJ makes 30. Because if you do this, Philly, and you send AJ Brown to a team for draft picks, you're not winning that draft. And you're not winning that trade. But for a player, you're covering money. You could post-date it to June 1, which would be lesser on your cap. You guys could work together. They're going to need a wide receiver for Fernando Mendoza. You need an edge rusher, and that helps set your defense for the next couple of years. He's a 28-year-old player. If it's a $30 million, I mean, you're probably going to have to sit there and pay the guy. And know this, don't you agree in the next 3 years? You got that guy under contract for 3 years. The edge rushing room is going to go to $50 million. You'd have a guy in 2 years from now that's still 28 and productive, and he's making $30 million. You're not going to be overpaying. It's going to be under the market.
No, it's the first I've heard of that of doing that. I'm not opposed to something like that, but I will tell you this: I would be more shocked if the Raiders would do something like that. I mean, do they really want to get a older wide receiver, even though they're getting rid of an older piece? Do they want to bring in another older piece to go along with the quarterback, or do they want to go younger and rebuild over the course of years? So I think it would probably be more on the Raiders than anything else. But I'm not opposed to that at all.
Do you think AJ's going to be dealt?
No.
Why?
Because I don't think the Eagles are going to take on the amount of money that it's going to cost them and then get nothing in return. I think Howie is being dead straight honest. I think he wants a first round pick. And I would go a step further. I would be asking for a 2027 first round pick, not even a 2026. And then I would try to do something like, let's say we do this, right? Just for argument's sake. I don't think it'll happen, but give me a 2027 first. And then go ahead and maybe bring in Mike Evans for a year or two, if you can, if he becomes available. Something like that I think could work. But I don't think AJ is going anywhere because I don't think teams are going to pay what the Eagles need.
Were you going in the draft, Mark, in your opinion there? Or is it still yet free agency still going to determine on the direction at the draft that the Cowboys are going to go? Because the Cowboys here, you got to remember this one thing about the draft. It gets you younger and cheaper when you go draft. So, I mean, is that going to be more of a priority, or do you think free agency? Because Jerry says he wants – now, look,
And
I heard it last year, right, Philly? We're all in. I didn't hear anything but
that was
all
2
in.
years ago.
That was 2
Oh,
years
come on.
ago. I heard all in, and I didn't hear shit.
It's all in this year. This is the year. This is
No,
it.
it's the
Year
best.
11 of chokitis.
Okay.
Let's go, baby. I love it. Let's do it. I want Dallas to sign everybody and get everybody because it will make the collapse in December that much more enjoyable. So do it. I hope Dallas goes crazy. Go ahead, Jerry, you 9,000-year-old bastard.
Here's the reality of it. First of all, here's the reality of it. You're going to have about $50 to $60 million. Do you look at this and say, we're going to bust the bank and get a Max Crosby? And the worry I have for Max Crosby is this is the 8th operation that he's had in 7 seasons. Okay? So if you're saying, I'm going to give up a first-round pick, maybe another player, and $30 million this year, I'm not sure that that's the best move to make. Now, as far as the draft goes, it's going to be determined if they make a trade, of course, for Max Crosby, then you're not looking for an edge rusher per se right now. You're going to focus in on the linebackers or the cornerbacks. Now, I think what's going to happen is because when we hear everybody saying we need to get Clav Downs or we need to get Ruben Bain out there or some of the other ones, the reality is that 12 – one of these players that are high prospect are going to fall. And so you're better off getting that best player available than just saying, I'm going to reach for a guy. We reached for Tyler Guyton because we needed a tackle, and that didn't work out. We reached for Taco Charlton because we needed an edge rusher. So your best play is to get that best player available. But Jerry, I think, is thinking more of, if I can get a legitimate player for that, I'd rather be able to plug him in now and know that he's going to play right now because there's a sense of urgency with Jerry Jones right now. I hope that there's nothing wrong or he's got some news or something or other, but they are moving differently that this has got to be right now.
You bet. I think the Cowboys are aimed in the right direction here, man.
You want to sign your name to the Cowboys? You want to sign with the Cowboys this year, Sills? You want to take it with them? You want to sign your name up with the Cowboys? Are you all in with the boys?
I didn't say that.
Come on. Let's do this right now.
Wait.
Hey, Sil, maybe I can be like your new Xander.
Wait. I don't know. I'm not there yet.
Xander Holmes.
Wait a second. I want to see what you guys do in free agency and in the draft before I start signing my name.
And that's all
calling me out here.
And that's all I'm saying. You're calling me. You're saying I'm not going to show up. Like, what am I scared of? Like, nothing has happened yet. You guys act like nothing's happened.
Oh, I can tell you this, man. Something is about to happen, my friend.
Hey, Sills, I'm going to tell you, I think this team is very talented. These are two different teams. Dallas has to spend a lot of money. In all seriousness, they've got to replace a whole defense. The Eagles, if they tweak and make a couple right decisions, if they catch a few breaks in the draft, free agency, they're right back in it. So to me, there's two teams looking at from totally different places. Are the Eagles in a rebuild? No. The Eagles are far from a rebuild. We got a lot of young nucleus on our team. We've got some things to fix. But for the most part, I think this is a pretty young team. And I think we'll be all right if we make the right moves.
In your opinion, then, you think 2025 was injuries and bad coaching?
I think it was really bad coaching and injuries. Yeah, I think that specifically the offensive line.
Okay. Now, let me ask you about Jaylen Phillips. Here's why I'm out on him. You know, people talked Mark just talked about Max Crosby's injuries. Well, that guy ain't been the healthiest guy either.
Agree.
Okay. So if you want to pay $26 million for that guy,
no.
I would pay $4 million more for Max Crosby. Would you be interested in adding him to the mix?
I would take a chance on Max Crosby because if you get 80% of what Max Crosby is, you're getting a Pro Bowl player. And you add that to the line that they already have. It's nasty. It's nasty. So yeah, I would love it. I like Jaylen Phillips, but I'm not paying anything to me north of $24 million. I'm out.
That's right.
I'm out.
And I would say this too, to you on Max Crosby. You guys are kind of in the same situation here, and I'll tell you how. You got Quinnen Williams, dude. Right now, I think Quentin Williams is a better ball player than Jalen Carter. Now, it's not 2 years from now, 3 years from now, he's a younger dude. But that guy is a ball player and a house wrecker. You put Crosby next to Carter, or you put Crosby next to Williams, that could set up the next couple years in the NFC East on who's going to dominate that side of the ball, because you guys are more balanced than Dallas and Philly would be more balanced than I think Washington and New York, because New York's got a ton of work to do on offense, and Washington's got a ton of work to do on defense. So you two guys are probably the two teams. I'm just saying. Do you agree with me, Philly?
I do.
You put Max Crosby next to Jalen Carter. Look at what he did when he had Josh Sweat next to him. He was a wrecking ball in 24.
I love the Eagles' young defensive line. I like what we saw from Davis last year. I think that'll continue. I know what Carter is, and then Jalen Hunt really, he really developed. I thought over the year that the guy that really has caused problems with why you have to go get a defensive end is Nolan Smith. Nolan Smith hasn't really developed, and I'm not saying he can't. I'm not saying he hasn't shown flashes of being good, but I think they wanted a little more from him so far.
Mark, do you think that Dak Prescott's a Hall of Fame player?
He's got to win a Super Bowl. You don't get the benefit.
Why Phillip Rivers doesn't?
Well, he hasn't gotten in yet, has he? He's got another 5 years to go ahead and wait.
Okay.
But here's the deal: as the Dallas Cowboys go, you don't get the benefit of the doubt. He'll own the only record he doesn't have right now is interceptions and the TDs. And the TDs, he only needs 5, and he's going to have every single Dallas Cowboys passing record. Now you can say, of course, it's a different era from when Roger Staubach threw. It's a different team, but he is a legitimate great quarterback. The problem is he ain't had a team like Roger had or Troy Aikman had as far as defenses go. Ain't nobody calling us the doomsday defense. They're saying we're doomed with that defense.
That's true.
I would say this to you too, Mark.
He's not a
250 career touchdowns and 90 picks and 3,600 yards in 10 years is, that's as good as quarterbacks that make it to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I agree with you. I think that he has to have had, to me, I look at Dak Prescott and I say, well, what makes him any different than Donovan McNabb? Donovan McNabb had more of a career in the postseason.
Yeah. And
he was better in the postseason. Would you not agree, Philly? He went to NFC Championship games.
Yeah, so, he choked too, but that's a whole other story.
But he's close to being a Hall of Fame type player.
He's closer to being a Hall of Famer than Dak right now, and I don't think he's a Hall of Famer.
How about this here for you too, Mark? Do you believe? We're here now, right? If they push all their chips in and they put in $60 million and they're under the cap and they make all these moves, dude, this is it. Dak's got to win there, man. I just watched Sam Darnold win a Super Bowl.
I agree. If we can get a top 12 defense out there and our offense that we don't have major injuries and things, yeah, that should be. There are no excuses then after that. There aren't any.
Do you hear that? Clip that, Xander. Record it, play it, save it. He said no excuses after that. After 15 years, no.
Mark, do you think you're heading in a better direction than the Philadelphia Eagles?
Without a doubt, we are headed in a better direction. Now, have I said that before you start laughing? I didn't say we caught up to the Eagles. Again, to Philly's point, we got to see what happens in free agency here. We got to see what happens in the draft on who we end up getting. But right now, I'm sorry, the Eagles are taking hit after hit. You don't even know who your tight ends are going to be next year, and tight ends are key. Tight ends are more important than the number one wide receiver.
Nothing's happened.
No, it is. And who you got? I'm hearing rumors of Zach Ertz coming back. Who's on an ACL?
You know as well as everybody. Look, dude, I just read a thing the other day saying the Eagles are pursuing Jamar Chase and Jefferson to go along with Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. The rumors out there right now are so ridiculous, some of them. I don't know how you put stock in really any of them. Until something happens, it happens. But who knows? Who
Okay, well, wait.
cares?
All right. Well, wait a minute. Wait a minute, guys. Wait a minute. Okay, so Philly, is Goddard back?
No, it looks like he might not be. And a week before the combine, it looked like he was going to be. And then now it looks like he isn't going to be. So right now, no, it looks like he's out. But
do you believe that all the new coaches, what does that tell you about all the new coaches with limited experience being hired to that? You don't think, like last year, my question mark was on Kevin Patullo. Why are you hiring a guy with no experience?
I agreed with you.
But now you're hiring a staff with no experience, basically.
Yeah.
I have to say, what it reminds me of is Mike McCarthy's last year here, where basically the Cowboys said, we're not extending any of you guys. You're all going to play on the last year of your deal. And they walked away from him.
Well, Dallas
has already said this is his last year, correct?
Is Dallas said isn't Dallas not doing the same thing on the defensive side of the ball?
What are you talking about? We just hired
you hired a bunch of new defensive coordinators, right?
We did,
you got a new defensive
they don't have deal.
So you're in the same boat defensively that we're on offensively.
Okay, at least we've got some guys that have a little more experience than what your guys have.
Really? Oh, okay. We'll see.
Okay, we'll see. You're right. Here's the thing. My defense has nowhere to go but up. They can't be any worse than what they were.
Right.
Okay?
That's right, but it's different when you're coaching Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean, and then you're coaching some of the guys that you got on your roster. It's not
Mark,
the same
the
roster.
only way you're any worse is if you're in the ACC. That's the only way you're any worse.
Right.
I got to ask you a question that Howard Eskin. I asked him a question yesterday, and I'm going to ask you, Philly.
Oh, Howard Eskin?
Okay, yeah, I asked, and I'm going to ask. And now, Mark, I want you to hear this as well. So I asked Howard Eskin, I go, do you think Jaylen Hurts is a good teammate? He said no. What's your take on that?
I would expect him to say that. From the years of listening to Howard Eskin, this is just my personal opinion.
Oh, so you don't believe it?
No, because he always sticks up for the coaches and he always sticks up for the front office. So he is not going to put any of the responsibility or look at anything that happened this past year and blame them. He'll only stick up for the players, it seems like to me, if they're his friends. Otherwise, nah, he's gonna throw the players under the bus before the coaching staff every day of the week. So I take nothing in it.
How about that there? What do you make of that there, Mark? That Eskin says that, and he wanted me to rephrase it like this. He could be a better
teammate. And you got to know who Eskin is, though. I don't know how Mark knows how much he's listening to Howard Eskin. I used to listen to him every day, in school and high school. So I know who Howard Eskin is.
He's a more gassed up for you. He's a more gassed up Norm Hitchkins.
Here's what I'll say.
Okay,
and again,
that's an old Dallas guy there.
I'm a Cowboy fan, and a homer, so it doesn't matter what I think. Well, on the outside looking in, when you start hearing about players that want to get away, like A.J. Brown, okay, your buddy Lord Brunson said, good buddy of his saw him at a party, and he was talking about wanting to be traded. He wants to get away, even though they just want. Hold on, wait, just
that's not what he said. But go ahead.
Let me finish here. You hear the rumors where people say that, people don't want to work with Hurts, right? And people are saying they don't want to work with your coach, Dracula. So somewhere in here, yes, there's all kinds of rumors, but you can't keep getting all of this stuff from all over the place here. Something is not right in there where people aren't excited about going to a team that won back-to-back divisions and just won a Super Bowl. You would think that everybody would say, as a coach, let me go there and coach, man, because they just won the Super Bowl. They got a loaded roster. Yet you had to do, 16 interviews to find a guy who was still wet behind the ears to be your offensive coordinator?
Philly, retort.
First of all, what Lord Brunson said was, he said that, yes, A.J. Brown had talked about wanting to be traded. That's not news to everybody. Everybody knew that. We knew that there was reports after week three. That was already out there. That doesn't mean he's going to sit there and not play or not be good for the team going forward. You got to still go out there and play. As far as the coaching staff goes, well, I mean, look, I could understand why some of the offensive coordinators might not want to be with Nick Sirianni if he's interfering with their offense. So I can see that. But to say that people don't want to go to Philly and Philly is some place that players don't want to be and coaches don't want to be, I think that's total bullcrap, to be honest with you. I don't think that at all. I think most players would love to come to Philly and play in Philly.
Do you think
and Max Crosby just spoke of it. I didn't hear him speaking glowingly about the Cowboys.
Do you think Nick Sirianni, in your opinion, is he the biggest question mark heading into 2026? Philly.
Oh, you said I thought you said more. Nick Sirianni is the biggest question, without question. That and the offense, you know. Look, I give Nick Sirianni credit in this. I think it takes balls to be in a position where he's in to go with a young, unproven offensive coordinator. It could have been very easy to go to a guy that's been there and done it, a retread. But I think that it actually took a little bit of guts to say, you know what, I might be risking my job, but I'm going to go and give this young guy a chance and see what he gets. Now, do I think Nick? I think, like I said, I call Nick Sirianni the Barry Switzer of the Philadelphia Eagles. So that's kind of how I feel about it. I said that many times.
I love
on this show.
I love that.
I thought it was Rich Kotite.
I said it before.
No,
Well,
because Switzer's got a Super Bowl ring.
Right.
And I never looked at it that way. Philly, excellent work there, my friend. I mean, Nick Sirianni's the Barry Switzer of the Eagles.
I think so.
Can I ask a question here?
Sure.
So the rumors of this being a prove-it year for Jaylen Hurts, there's nothing to that then?
Oh, there is.
Yeah, there is, of course. Because now what I like about this year is that we're finally going to have a new offense. I think they'll take the handcuffs off of Jaylen Hurts, and we're going to see, is it Hurts or is it Nick? We're going to find out now. And I think that it's a great thing. But yeah, Nick, Jaylen has questions to answer. I think. Why not?
Mark, do you think Jerry Jones is a good owner?
There's good things about, you know, the fact that the Cowboys are popular, the fact that you've got an incredible stadium and an incredible experience, and he's making more money than anybody else, by definition, is making him a great owner. Are you talking about him being a great winner? That's a different story.
He does have 3 rings.
Yeah, but that was back when he had to succeed. The team was losing $2 million a month when he bought the team.
He did.
He focused in on trying to save every nickel, and he had Jimmy Johnson, who was out there evaluating the talent. And once they won, you're on cruise control. Here's the reality. The Cowboys are probably going to be worth another $1 billion this year after not making the playoffs, you know, the last 2 years. Doesn't matter what they do. He's built it to the point where it's just a cash cow.
How about you, Philly? Do you think that Jeffrey Lurie is a good owner? And the reason I ask you this is because Angelo Cataldi was on today. And, you know, he keeps telling everybody how much he loves the Philadelphia fans. Guy keeps raising ticket prices on these people each and every single day. Now, that's not a Philly thing. That's an NFL thing.
It's an NFL thing.
That's an NFL thing. But in your opinion, do you believe that Jeffrey Lurie is a good owner?
Yeah, I think he's a great owner. I think he's a great owner because he's an owner that I actually believe when he says, I want to win. He actually means it. He's an owner that has given a lot of cash up and eaten a lot of dead money, which a lot of owners are mad about and don't want to do because he wants his team to win. So I believe he's a good owner. I think he's a very good owner, to be honest with you. Now, is everything perfect? No, I would like the media to be able to speak a little more openly about certain things I think are held back. But no, overall, I think Jeffrey Lurie is a great owner.
Last question for you here, Mark. So more important, free agency or the draft in the next couple months here? Imperative for the Cowboys to be successful, catch the Eagles, and win the NFC East. What is more important?
It's going to be
or both, or pick one.
Well, it's really both. Okay. The reality is we need an edge rusher. Okay. Donovan Araku is had hip surgery and stuff, and so he's gonna miss most of OTAs and he'll be ready for training camp. But you definitely need an edge rusher. You definitely need not one, at least two linebackers. You need a safety, and you need a cornerback. And so with two number ones, and then you're in the third or the fourth round, you're not getting all those holes filled. They have got to go in free agency and get guys better than Kenneth Murray. There are some guys out there, people are, of course, always talking about Nakobe Dean, but Demario Davis, he is 36 years old, but coming off 143 tackles last year, has missed one game since he left the Jets. That guy is still a beast. Okay, I see you, Philly.
Sign him. I love it. Sign a 36-year-old. Beautiful.
Well, Bobby Wagner's still kind of getting things done there.
Yeah, but okay.
Second team All-Pro last year.
Okay.
Yeah, but one guy out of how many? Come on, he's
guys.
The exception.
Two guys. But if you get somebody like DeMario with Nakobe Dean, get him to mentor Nakobe Dean, because you got to cover yourself in Nakobe because you got the injury issues. And then you can let whoever's there fall to you. That's going to be important. You've got to get some of these holes taken care of in free agency, and that'll open up the draft to the best player.
But you, Philly, I mean, Eagles plan this. Now, listen, what's more of the priority for you, Phillips or AJ in these next 5 days?
Phillips. AJ's, I mean, I'm pretty much keeping AJ. There's nothing really anybody could do unless they really blow me away with an offer. So I'd rather focus on Phillips. And I don't know. Honestly, I don't know if he's going to be too expensive. I'm not afraid to let him walk, though. I think they could find somebody in free agency. I do. I like the development of Jaylen Hunt. So, no, I think Phillips right now.
What's that shirt saying? Get there, Mark?
Eagles came to play.
How come it's all skinned? Look at what the hell? I mean, hey, Billy, what's up, man? I mean, look, the Cowboys, don't you think they're doing a great job so far?
You listen to this. Free agency hasn't started. You hear these people? They've done nothing. Sills, they've done nothing, and they act like they're going to the Super Bowl. It's the most. Wait till they sign one player, Sills. It's going to be. They're obnoxious.
They do.
They're
Pickens.
so obnoxious.
They did Pickens
was on the team last year. That's a push.
Yeah, but they franchised them.
That's a push to me. He was on the team last year. How is his team better than it was a year ago? As of today, it can't be.
Better coaches. Okay. We're better.
Well, that's a great question.
Okay.
Hey, do you think you have better coaches than the Eagles?
On offense, we definitely do.
As an overall group.
On defense, right now, I would say that, well, Nick Fangio is incredible. Okay. So I don't know that we're better than that.
But I don't give a shit about one of those coaches on offense that the Eagles have.
I'm going to say our offensive staff is great. We got a lot of potential on the defensive side.
What do you think's got a better staff?
I love our defensive coaches. Are you kidding me? Clint Hurd, Bob King. I like them a lot. No, I'm going to go with the Eagles. F Dallas. F them. I'm going with Eagles. Offensively, we got it better. We got a better offense. We got better coaches. F Dallas. They get shit.
Fuck the Cowboys.
That's how I feel.
Come on, Philly. Listen, man. Hey, look, man. I can't wait to see next Monday, man. Ooh. I mean, look, dude.
I'm telling you what. If Dallas does nothing by Wednesday, Mark is going to be one miserable person. But I hope he's excited.
Mark, if you have on March 11th, you signed Max Crosby on March 11th. Man, that'll be a meteoric change in the NFC East.
Oh man. We'll see.
We'll see. We got a long off season. We got free agency. We got the draft. A lot can happen, man. If you look back a year, before our Super Bowl year, nobody would have thought that Eagles would have come out with two starting secondary studs right out of the draft. So, I remember coming on here getting laughed saying our secondary was going to be better than Dallas.
It was
2 years ago, and it was. You don't know who they draft, what moves are going to be made. Sometimes what seems like the big move, the big splash move, turns out to not be all that great. So let's wait and see.
I do agree with you on one thing, Philly. That Mark is awful happy always in the offseason. He's a miserable dude during the middle of the
December.
year.
This is how he comes on. He looks like this every show.
All right, so you're leaning back to the Eagles side.
No. I'm just saying you have a different disposition.
Offer sheet here, man.
Wait a minute. No, you have a different disposition in the offseason. It's like you really are happy, but why does the regular season for the Cowboys make you miserable?
But bro, hold on. You got to think.
Because they
When I started doing this show, the Eagles were great. You're going through a Super Bowl all off season. I'm getting thrown in my face about a Super Bowl. This is the first time that we've had negativity on the Eagles. That's why I'm happy.
No negativity. We just got issues.
Maybe not for you because you got those green colored glasses.
Hey, listen, to me, issues are Terrell Owens doing push-ups in his driveway. That's more
A.J. Brown
issue.
doing that.
Okay.
A.J. Brown's not that guy.
Okay, so I asked that question. You don't think that, by the way, Terrell Owens played on both teams, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
For you, Philly, you don't think that A.J. Brown's situation has gotten to where he's a distraction like Terrell Owens?
I don't think it will get that far because with the Terrell Owens situation, I mean, you basically had players within that locker room taking sides between Owens and McNabb. You had punches being thrown. There was a lot of crazy stuff going on. I don't think A.J. Brown is going to let it get that far. And by everything we've heard, this is not like A.J. Brown is not mad at the Eagles and the Eagles are not mad at A.J. Brown. So I don't think it's that bad.
And I'll leave you with this. Here we go. And also, that's quarterback. I mean, hey, we got it going on. That was two of my favorite Cowboy lines, Philly.
Yes, exactly. It's my
Here we go.
Not fair.
I love it, man. I love it.
Make sure you guys check out these two dudes. Great work, man. They do spectacular work. Mark Holmes is all over my Facebook. I see him sitting here, and all I see is this, Philly. I see this. I got it. 90% of the time, his fucking hands over his head doing this, and he's just sitting there. And then the other day when I saw that, they were talking about Max Crosby, he perked up. Most of the time I see him doing like videos like this. He got his hand over his head. I mean,
that's right.
Oh,
yeah. No, this is his happy month all season.
It is. It's happy time. Guys, I appreciate you more than you know. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. Peace.
You got it, man. That is my friends right there. Philly 500 and the legendary Mark Holmes. How you doing, guys? We appreciate it. Let me pay some bills here. My great friends at Morgan & Morgan, the #1 injury law firm in all of America for a reason, and that is because they win. Make sure you check out my friends at forthepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529. I told you about the family in Pennsylvania, $650K they were initially offered, and then they ended up getting $30 million in recovery. Go to forthepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529. That's forthepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529. And do me a favor, tell them Big Sales sent you.
There's a reason Detective Johnson is the gossip king.
Oh, did you hear? Jackie and Tom
are getting a divorce? Sad.
Well, I heard that Ashley
had work done on her face. Yeah, oof.
Just like there's a reason Morgan & Morgan is America's largest injury law firm. Injured? With over $25 billion recovered for our clients, there's a reason to go big.
Bathroom? Okay.
Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Oh, okay.
Ignite your nights with free live entertainment daily, only at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia's Center Bar. 7 days a week, enjoy some of the region's top party bands, performers, and DJs as they take the stage in the heart of the casino action. Great cocktails, live music, and lively moments. It's all happening at Center Bar at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia. Visit livecasinophilly.com for more details and the complete list of upcoming events. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This is Eric. When he got injured in a car accident, he called Morgan & Morgan. He not only gets a lawyer, he gets trial lawyers like Sam and Jessica, who are in it to win it. He gets his own investigators with briefcases, leather ones. And if you ever have questions, our customer service folks keep things rolling. Injured? We're your army. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Welcome to the jet setters and the high rollers, to the shot takers and the tastemakers. Welcome to the viewfinders, the thrill seekers, and the night owls. Welcome to everything you could possibly want on one 5-mile island. Welcome to the Wildwoods. Book your stay today.
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We go the extra mile to lend a helping hand. We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong. We've been deeply rooted in our communities for more than 85 years. And that connection to members has earned us our spot as the #1 health insurer in the region. So while you look out for your neighbors, know IBX is always looking out for you.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on Sports Grid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid.
EAGLES. Eagles.
Sad day in football. Legendary Lou Holtz has passed away at the age of 89. Read from the AP here. College football legend Lou Holtz, who guided Notre Dame to an undefeated season and national championship in 1988, has died at the age of 89. Responsible for national resurgence at several major programs, Holtz finished his coaching career at 249 wins, 132 losses, and 7 times in a Hall of Fame career. He began coaching at William & Mary in 69, including stops at NC State. Let me take a look at that. I don't believe he was at NC State in 83. He got the job over Jimmy Johnson at Arkansas, and he coached at Minnesota prior to his rise to Notre Dame in the 80s. Holtz was also the head coach of the New York Jets for 10 months, compiling a 3-10 record in 76. God did not put Lou Holtz on this earth to coach in the pros, Holtz said after he resigned from the Jets. I think he was coaching Namath. Then he went to Arkansas and restarted a legendary coaching career. Holtz was at Arkansas for the next 7 years, then Minnesota for 2, and then he went to South Bend in 86 to resurrect the Notre Dame program. 10 years, 100 wins, 5 prestigious New Year's Day bowl games and victories, and 1 national title in 88. Holtz had returned to Notre Dame, and he returned the Notre Dame standard to excellence, which he did. And the 88 team beat West Virginia, and I believe, who was that quarterback in West Virginia during that time? That was he was a dual threat type guy in the Fiesta Bowl to finish number 1. The season is famous for its historic Catholics versus the Convicts, University of Miami, and Notre Dame, 31-10. Actually, it was 31-30. And it snapped they didn't beat Miami 31-10. They beat Miami 31-30 in South Bend. This must be a honk. Snapping a 36-game winning streak by the Hurricanes. Notre Dame clinched its 11th, the most recent national title, 79 days later. Notre Dame beating Miami 31-10. Must be a Notre Dame honk right in this. Holtz is also responsible for the famous Play Like a Champion Today sign that hangs at the footsteps of the Notre Dame stadium locker room as you go out to the stadium. And it's legendary today to this when you go in there. I've seen it too. Holtz's family posted it brief. Skip Holtz, by the way, is a friend of mine. He's been on this program. And he posted, and Kevin Holtz and all of them on Facebook. They live in Orlando, and I used to play golf with them in Orlando. He lived right there. I think it's Islesworth. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was Islesworth that he lived on the 5th hole. And I would go over and play golf with him when I had my radio show. And he and I talked about really some of the great rivalries that we had. Prayers to the Holtz family. Absolutely. Just, I really hope the NFL rethinks twice about bringing the team to all those piece of shit, spineless countries who refuse to help us. They don't deserve it. Well, I doubt we'll be traveling anywhere. I'll tell you what, that's a great call. With all the stuff going on overseas right now, NFL's going to go over there and play Europe games and overseas games? Really? Yeah, well, good luck to that. Good luck to that. Okay? Mountaineers, that's it, Major Harris. Major Harris was the quarterback. He was really good. West Virginia, I thought it was Major Harris that was the quarterback that year. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, West Virginia had like a really good year that year because they played in the Fiesta Bowl and they played for the national title. And I think West Virginia was they were still independent at the time. Because you got to remember something. When we played against Notre Dame, the independents at the time were Pitt, FSU, Notre Dame, Miami, Syracuse, BC, Penn State, West Virginia. Those were kind of like, they were all independent. Boston College, Syracuse, Pitt, Penn State, FSU, Notre Dame, Miami, West Virginia. Dude, and we scheduled those teams. And those teams back then, when they were independent, they were war horses. They were really good, like football teams back in the day. And I want to say that because in 1980, I don't remember where Holtz was. Holtz wasn't at, because I got recruited to Minnesota. And let me see the Minnesota Gophers, because I did take a recruiting trip. My second, when I was transferring, I took my when I was leaving Maryland, I went to LSU, I went to Oklahoma, I went to Miami, I went to Minnesota, and it came down between Miami, Minnesota, Oklahoma, and I originally signed with Oklahoma. And for whatever reason, it was Minnesota. And I had I had a great time, but I was going to wrestle up there. So I was thinking of wrestling because when I came out of high school, I was recruited by Dan Gable. And I thought about going and, wrestling at Iowa and playing college football, and I was just too far away. And, then the coaches got a little bit pissed off in the places that I went. They didn't want me to wrestle or play baseball, so I couldn't. But I was my second time, I was thinking of going up there. I think the coach name was like Joe Salem. And then everybody knew that Holtz was coming in to take that job. And I had talked to Coach Holtz, and he got that job. No, because he got the Notre Dame job in 80. Though this was 84. Because he wasn't at Notre Dame until 86. He was at Minnesota. Because Joe Salem, after 83, I went up to Minnesota. And then Holtz got the job, I think, in 84. And we had been talking. He goes, I'm going to get the head coaching job. And I'm going to get the head coaching job at Minnesota. We had been talking. And then I said, I'm going to sign with Oklahoma. And I signed my letter of intent. I showed you my letter of intent from Oklahoma. I saved it. And he'd get on the phone and, hey, this is Lou Holtz. I just got to tell you, man. I know that you didn't have a really good time in Maryland, and you did a bunch of good. And I'm going, I really liked him. I really liked Lou Holtz. And I became friends with the family. Skip's a dear friend of mine. I want you to come and play here with me at the Gophers. And, and I'm like, man, it's inside. I don't want to play indoors. It was at the old Hubert Humphrey Dome. But he goes, do me a favor. Let's just come here and take a recruiting trip. Man, I went to Minnesota and I had a blast. I had a blast. I mean, I really did. I had a blast. It was just wonderful. Great recruiting trip, great everything. And I just was like, at the end, I went, I don't think so, man. I think, I'm going to Oklahoma. Then Jimmy called me, and Jimmy talked me out of it. And Switzer, I love showing this. Switzer let me out of my scholarship. Coach Switzer's a great dude, man. And he's one of my favorite coaches. And I really wanted to play for Coach Switzer, but I wanted to play for Jimmy more. Tremendous motivational speaker. Great football teams. By the way, when he got to Notre Dame, not that I ever felt bad for Notre Dame. We kicked the living shit out of them guys every year we played. But he retooled that team, man. Still, Penn State didn't make a play for you. You know what? They did at first. I was really wanting to play at Pitt. I had 3 guys that played from my high school at Pitt. And Dave Pizzulli, my friend Tony Brown, who was my classmate. And at the very end, Penn State started recruiting me. Joe Paterno recruited me. Jerry Sandusky came into my house. And they were like, how'd you like to play at Penn State? And I'm like, my grandfather loved Joe Paterno. And he'd come and see me a couple times. And I just never really felt Penn State was serious because they had so many guys. And I don't really think at the time Connecticut was really, but we had Steve Young. I played high school football against Steve Young. He played at Greenwich. We had I remember my all-conference team. Every guy went to Division I from our conference, like BC, BYU, Maryland, Penn State, Syracuse. Every single guy. They didn't go like the URI or Boston University. They went to big schools. We all went to big schools. It's still to this day. That kid Allen that plays for the Broncos, that defensive end? He's from my conference, that FCF. We got 4 guys right now from our conference that play in the NFL. And that kid, what's his name? Zach Allen? He went to New Canaan. He played at New Canaan. He's a really good football player. And I stay in touch with him, but he played at New Canaan. I think he plays for the Broncos now. And he's from the FCAC. And so I can't wait. Gary Cobb played in the FCAC. He was good, man. He was really good. Those Cuse teams. Here, let me show you, man. I think the guy and the coach's name was Dick McPherson. Because McPherson had a really good football. They were good, man. They had some good football teams. Yeah, but Lou Holtz, let me say this, man. My time playing against his teams and being recruited by him, he was during our time. And when we played them, I've told you the story about the Jerry Fouts game. We kicked the shit out of them 58-7. And then my last year there, we beat them 24-0. That was Lou Holtz's first season at Miami, or his first season at Notre Dame. We kicked the tar out of them. And so we beat them 24-0. They just didn't have a lot of talent. It was really kind of wild. It was really wild seeing Notre Dame not be very good. They were not very good. Like Boston College was better than Notre Dame. I don't know what happened, but the recruiting from Jerry Fouts they had some good players, but they just were not fast. They were not very good. And when Holtz got in there, he had a thing called what was that thing called? Prop 48. That's how he rebuilt Notre Dame. It was through Prop 48. And what was Prop 48? Prop 48. I think that's what it was called. If it wasn't for Prop 48, there's no way, okay, Notre Dame would have ever won a national title. Notre Dame lowered their standards. Here's what Prop 48 was, and this is how he built Notre Dame. Proposition 48 adopted by the NCAA in 1986. That's when he first got the job. Established a minimum academic requirement of 2.0 and 700 on your SATs, or 15 on your ACATs for incoming freshman athletes to be eligible. Back in my day, you had to have a 2.0, but you had to have north of 800 on your SATs. Aimed at improving graduation rates, it significantly impacted college football by making numerous recruits ineligible with a disposition effect on black athletes. Impact on football. In its first year in 1986, many college football programs lost recruits because of this. Well, get this. Consequently, what you could do is this. You could recruit a kid, bring him into your school, give him a scholarship, and if he passed the requirements in his first year and got his grades up, you can give him a scholarship. And you can maintain him, and he wouldn't lose eligibility. He built the entire program on that. They lowered their standards so that they can get guys in. And that's how he built it up. Well, when they stopped that, and Lou Holtz built his entire program on that. Notre Dame and Holtz. He's a great coach. Here, this is a great example. In 86, in his first year at Notre Dame, Lou Holtz recruited a quarterback by the name of Tony Rice, who I'm friends with, who became the school's first Prop 48 casualty. Rice fell 10 points shy of the 700. This guy had a 690 on his SATs. I mean, even I got 1,000. I got 1,000 on my boards. I didn't have a grade point average, but I had like 1,100 on my SATs. I never thought that test was hard. It forced him to set out his freshman year unable to practice or play for the team. Prop 48 context. Prop 48 affected 86 mandated for the incoming freshmen. That meant GPA and also SAT scores. Tony Rice in criticism. Rice was a top recruit. His ineligibility drew scrutiny by professors and critics, especially at Notre Dame, because they dropped their academic standards. They did. They dropped their academic standards. And that's how Notre Dame was built back up again. They built the program up through guys who couldn't qualify. 800. Who did you pay to take those? I didn't think they were hard. I think the first time I took them, I got 1,000, and the next time I took them, I got 1,100. I didn't think they were hard. To me, the SATs were like, I thought they were like the questions that you're asked at the combines. It's like this: is it dark out at night? And I mean, every question could be right in the SAT, but you had to put the best formula together to figure it out. Like, remember those SATs? Now, I don't think you have to take those anymore because I think they called them culturally biased. But back then, it was like, at night, is it dark? And then there's like 3 ones. Is it dark? is it the time of day? It was some stupid shit like that. And there was math involved in it. I didn't think those were difficult. Be honest, do all you Eagles, be honest, do y'all think the Eagles trade A.J. Brown? I do. Yeah, they reestablished their so let me my run-in with Holtz. I think Lou Holtz, I think he was at Arkansas when he was initially recruiting me out of high school. Let me see. I think he was still at Arkansas. He got the job over Jimmy Johnson. And he came and recruited me. I don't really think that there wasn't a dude that didn't recruit me when I was in high school. That were some of these big-time coaches. I talked to every one of them. Either on the phone, they came and saw me. Where was he? He was at Arkansas. And he came up through he came up through the Northeast. And then in 84, that's right, he got the Minnesota job. And he had told me he was changing jobs going from Arkansas because they came and recruited me right after my senior year at Catholic High, which was 81. So in the 82 offseason, he was still at Arkansas, and he came and he recruited me. But then I left Maryland in 84, and that's when I was leaving. And he said, and he got the Minnesota job. And I was like, come at least see the program. I got to tell you, he is a motivating dude. He is, without a doubt. He'll sit you in front of you and tell you, I'll get you to the NFL. I'll help you do this. Whatever you need, your family needs. He took me out to dinner. And then when we played against his football teams, our rivalry was second to none. That Miami-Notre Dame rivalry was also because of Jimmy Johnson and Lou Holtz. Let me see if Jimmy said anything about it. If Coach Johnson said anything. He and Lou didn't get along. I know that. Now, maybe that changed, but yeah, he didn't say anything yet. He may not. Because I don't really think he and Lou Holtz were. I don't think he and Lou Holtz were ever really on the same page. Let's say you get a good offer for AJ. Would you trade him if it was enough to move up to get the tight end from Oregon? Man, that tight end from Oregon is not a priority on me in that draft. You mean, like, I'll tell you this. Here's who I would trade up for in that draft. Trading up to get the tight end, that's not what I'm looking for. Here, if I'm trading up to get somebody, I'm getting Francis Magala, the offensive tackle. I'm not trading up to get the tight end. Here's the guys I would trade up. If I get a good pick and I get a chance to move up and I make a trade and I get a chance and I'm, say, in the 13, 14 range, I'm looking at dudes like maybe Reuben Bain, Francis Magawa, Caleb Lomu, the edge rusher from Clemson, Peter Woods, Arvil Reese. Some of these guys are top 10 dudes. Jeremiah McCoy, the kid from Tennessee, is rapidly moving up that board. Colton Hood, corner. Depends on what happens with Jaylen Phillips in the next 5 days. To move up to get Kenyon Sadiq, I think he's going to be down there at 23, 24, and 25. He's not a lottery pick. That guy's not a lottery pick, Sasha. Guy from Bama had a good combine. Proctor, but I think he'll be down there anyway. I don't believe you're going to have to move up to go up and get that guy. So I don't believe that you're going to have to go there. But there's like 12 or 13 guys in this draft that you can make. Cassius Howell is probably going to be down in the later 20s. By the way, I wouldn't be shocked if that Ty Simpson kid ends up getting drafted. Rams paid out of their ass for McDuffie. They sure did, boy. Which means they're pushing all their chips in. I have a bad feeling we're going to be put behind the 8 ball in every position. I think the next 5 days are really critical for the Eagles. Jaylen Phillips and A.J. Brown, the next 5 days. And here, A.J. Brown, Jaylen Phillips, and Nakobe Dean. Those 3 dudes. Absolutely. We need O-line guys. You're right. You need, I'm getting that kid from UM. If I get a pick for AJ and I can move up, I'm getting that dude. Shields, I think Howie should draft one of the top corners in round 1 to put opposite of Q. It's a lot of equity, man. 3 corners in the last 2 years. Whew, man. That's a big time. Those are big time. Also Davis, yeah. Davis's extension. Any chance we keep Dean and Campbell moves out to edge? No. I think that John Campbell is never going to play out there in some special packages, but he's off ball, dude. I don't see them doing that. I just don't. Phillips is critical because, listen, I don't think you're going to pay the money that you think that you're going to have to pay for that guy. Freeling, the tackle from UGA. Let me see where Bledsoe has him. Here's some of the comments about him on Bledsoe. Okay. 4.93 in the 40. Wow. 33.5 in a vertical. 9.7 in broad. Good initial quickness in the run game to reach and cut defenders. Does a good job getting to the second level and engulfing and replacing defenders. Excellent athletic traits when mirroring defenders in protection. Weakness. Technique can vary too much. Pad level gets high. He can lose his balance in the run game. That's a feed issue for me, especially if you're trying to run stretch plays. By the way, if you go back and you watch Dallas Goedert this last year, he was terrible in the run game. He was really terrible in the run game. Like, I don't know what happened to him this last year. He just wasn't very good in it. So Hurts moving to timing and anticipation throws, style of offense. Sounds like a recipe for disaster. More stress on the Philly defense to get stops. Correct. More volume of passes and more anticipation throws. I think it's going to lead to more 3-and-outs. I agree. I do think that leads to 3-and-outs. Just yes, we got that. If we draft a corner for CB2, it does hedge or leverage for Q and Dean in contract negotiations. I'm not trying to beat them in contracts, Jason. What's going to affect those guys if you have pressure this year and how well your edge plays. Okay? And how well they play on the edge. When can we start saying this is a rebuild? Next week. If that football team, in my opinion, if those guys do not sign Jaylen Phillips and they let AJ go, it's a rebuild. Why is Dean so important? We played well in key games without him, even won a Super Bowl. You even shit on him every chance you could. Now he's a great player. I think he proved me wrong that he's a good player. I never said don't keep him. I wouldn't sign the guy. Where did you ever hear me say re-sign him? Marshall, you heard me say re-sign Nakobe Dean? When was that? I've never said re-sign him. I'm not signing a guy who missed all those games. Not happening. I never at one time said, he's proven me he can play, but you can't sign him because he can't stay healthy. I never at any time ever said re-sign that guy. And to me, here's another thing too. You can't put Campbell for a second year on the bench. That means you would have 2 first-round draft choices that you have on the bench heading into 26. You would have John Campbell and you would have Nolan Smith on the bench. You can't have 2 ones on the bench, can you? 2 first-round guys. His size and athleticism, would he be much better as a safety, especially for his lack of his hips? He's a small dude. Put him at safety. I never thought about that, but I don't know. It's a thought. Seals, wouldn't you want to draft defensive guys before Vic leaves? Offense might be blown up. I think you want to build that defense up because next year you're going to have to start tearing that offense apart. How long before you start tearing that offensive line apart? I think in the next 3 years. But here, Cosmo, if you trade Nolan Smith, okay, if you trade him, you're going to have, if you trade him, you're taking a hit and how he would have failed on that first round pick. Hang on. So here, if you trade him, Howie would have to admit that it was a failure pick if you trade him. Or, yeah, if you trade him and you get a 4th back for him, that's a failure pick. You didn't say that, but pumping him up for Dallas, like we're taking a major loss, is crazy. No, it's a major gain for them because they don't have very good players over there. They don't have as good a linebacking core. It's not even remotely close. They do not have good linebackers. Overshown is good, but outside of that, they're not in the conversation. You know, you can make the argument the Eagles have the deepest linebacker room, which is crazy because in 23 it was a dog shit room. Ringo's not making this team anymore. Now, he might because of special teams. We're back to the same old problem. I hope Howie hits on these picks again. That's correct. Remember something. Think about this. Like you said, how come Jaylen Phillips doesn't fall in that line when it comes, he can't pay everybody? Jaylen Phillips is not better than Josh Sweat. I was told a year ago you can't sign everybody. Now you want to pay more for him. That doesn't make sense to me. Last year, you guys told me you couldn't sign everybody. Now you want to sign Jaylen Phillips to a $26 million deal when you could have had Sweat for 19. Make that make sense. Sills, like the Eagles. Sills, talk like the Eagles are Buffalo Bills, San Diego Chargers, Cincinnati Bengals. The great Josh Allen can't get to a Super Bowl without great receivers. Mahomes did. Bro, I'm not getting into that conversation again. Like I said, if you think that and you think your boy is that good, no problem. Okay? Nobody else on the planet does. I'm not debating that bullshit anymore. If you think Jaylen Hurts is a better football player than Josh Allen, have at it. Phillips not better than Sweat, but the difference is Smith has become a bust. I don't think bust. I think he's the N'Kobe Dean of the edge rushers. He can't stay healthy. He just can't. The weight of shame bears heavy on Allen's shoulders. See, these are just dumb. And I'm not going to really placate to it. So whatever. I mean, nobody on the planet would ever in a million years. Howie Roseman would move heaven and earth to get Josh Allen on the Eagles. He would give the Buffalo Bills anything they wanted, including your boy, for Josh Allen. There's not a team in the NFL outside the Kansas City Chiefs or the Cincinnati Bengals that wouldn't trade for Josh Allen, including your beloved Eagles. Dumb. First round, Sills. He's a bust in Philly. You say the Eagles are in a rebuild if they trade AJ. What am I talking? If you trade AJ Brown, your wide receiving core will be Devontae Smith, Darius Cooper, and Johnny Wilson. Seals, I think Howie realizes he can repair his misfortune. His mindset is build in the draft and sign high-volume, short-term deals in free agency. That's correct. Seals, what would you do in the draft if you're Howie? It's going to be determined on what Phillips does in the market. If I don't believe that Jaylen Phillips is not going to get to free agency, or you would have signed him by now. What's the holdup? You're not looking at this right. What's the holdup? You have the player under contract. Waiting until the very last minute, that favors the player. It doesn't favor you to wait until Monday. Okay? I mean, how does that favor you? By waiting longer. It favors the player. That doesn't if I were the Eagles right now, I would try to get this deal done by Friday. I wouldn't let this go into the weekend. Sam Darnold just showed you only need one receiver. Smitty's a good number one. Yeah, I mean, this doesn't make sense. People are like this. They're going, well, we got to wait and see what Jaylen. Well, I know for a fact that Howie Roseman has talked to Drew Rosenhaus. They talked all last week because they were talking about potentially an extension for Jalen Carter too, and what they were going to do. Okay? So you can legally talk to and cut a deal with Drew Rosenhaus. Why? Because until Monday, you're not a free agent. And you realistically can't talk to anybody. So what you're doing is I mean, Jordan Davis is not with Drew Rosenhaus. Jalen Carter is. And I know, talking to Robert Bailey, they think that Phillips is going to get somewhere in the excess of, he's going to sign a Milton Williams deal. Jaylen Phillips is going to sign. What was that deal? What was that deal? What was the Milton Williams deal? That's what was told to me. Milton Williams. What was that Milton Williams deal? I think it was 4-year 104. 4-year 104, right? I think there was a $24 million signing bonus with 51 guaranteed, something like that. Right? And I think they're looking at a deal like that. I think it was something in the lines of, I think I wrote it down somewhere. Milton Williams got a 4-year 104, and it was $24 million in a signing bonus and 51 in guarantees. And that put him at 26 something per year, and it made him one of the highest paid defensive tackles in the league. And I think that's what our defensive ends in the league. And that's what the deal I think they're trying to get. That's why he should be a safety. Talking with, I guess you're talking about Nakobe. I'm not giving Carter an extension, so I know more about them till I know more about them shoulders. I happen to agree. Phillips is a number one free agent Ed this offseason. Not true. It's Trey Hendrickson. Let's see. It's Trey Hendrickson, in my opinion. I get these sheets from all these GMs. Let me go to the Patriots one. This is the Patriots. Trey Hendrickson is now number one on some teams. Tyler Linderbaum's number 2. Jaylen Phillips is 3. Alec Pierce is 4. Rasheed Walker, the OT with the Packers, is 5. Let's see. Mike Evans is 12. Jalen Watson, Chiefs corner, is 13. Malik Willis, 14. Kenneth Walker, the reigning Super Bowl MVP, is 15th. He's 25 years old, and they're letting him walk. Kyler Murray, 17. I'll tell you what, I'm hearing Kyler Murray to the Minnesota Vikings. Devin Lloyd, Jacksonville, 16. Romeo Doubs, 19. Khalil Mack, still even with the age of 35, he's at 20. Boy, I'll tell you somebody that I'd like the Eagles to get. I'd like to have the Eagles bring in Travis Etienne to go on the other side of Barkley. Travis Etienne would be somebody that would help in that West Coast offense. Still, say they trade for Crosby. Can Howie restructure the contract for a restructure with Vegas before? Yes, you can restructure. But remember this too, Cosmo. You can also, post June 1, if you're both working, if you trade AJ, you both can post date this thing to June 1. I would trade AJ to the Raiders. If I was going to move him, I would trade him for Crosby. And then some are going, what about his injuries? What about Phillips's injuries? I'm just not a big fan of that guy. Reed is out of position, can't tackle either. Well, Reed Blankenship, that's going to be interesting to see what they do. I know. Hey, and don't forget too, Marsh, didn't they move off of Snead a couple years ago? In the secondary, right? I mean, they've completely just revamped that and cut that whole secondary out over the last 3 years. Didn't that guy Snead go to Tennessee? They had a shitload of like money, and so I mean they lost Snead. Now they've lost and they've traded Trent McDuffie, and now they're like, and 4 years ago they got rid of Honey Badger. They're completely revamping that defense. There is no doubt. They're completely doing that. All right, let me pay some bills here. Big sales here for our friends at Morgan & Morgan, the number one injury law firm in all of America for a reason. And it's because they win. Make no mistake about it. Our friends at Morgan & Morgan, it's family-owned, family-run. Guys, I tell you this all the time. The families that we talk about in Pennsylvania, they got initially offered $650K. They ended up getting nearly $30 million back in restitution. Do me a favor. If you're ever injured, please go to forthepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529. That's forthepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529 to do me a favor. You tell them Big Sales sent you.
There's a reason Detective Johnson is the gossip king.
Oh, did you hear? Jackie and Tom
are getting a divorce. Sad.
Well, I heard that Ashley
had work done on her face. Yeah, oof.
Just like there's a reason Morgan & Morgan is America's largest injury law firm. Injured? With over $25 billion recovered for our clients, there's a reason to go big.
bathroom. Okay.
Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Oh, okay.
Ignite your nights with free live entertainment daily, only at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia's Center Bar. 7 days a week, enjoy some of the region's top party bands, performers, and DJs as they take the stage in the heart of the casino action. Great cocktails, live music, and lively moments. It's all happening at Center Bar at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia. Visit livecasinophilly.com for more details and the complete list of upcoming events. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This is Eric. When he got injured in a car accident, he called Morgan & Morgan. He not only gets a lawyer, he gets trial lawyers like Sam and Jessica, who are in it to win it. He gets his own investigators with briefcases, leather ones. And if you ever have questions, our customer service folks keep things rolling. Injured? We're your army. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Welcome to the Jet Setters and the High Rollers, to the Shot Takers and the Tastemakers. Welcome to the Viewfinders, the Thrill Seekers, and the Night Owls. Welcome to everything you could possibly want on one 5-mile island. Welcome to the Wildwoods. Book your stay today.
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We go the extra mile to lend a helping hand. We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong. We've been deeply rooted in our communities for more than 85 years. And that connection to members has earned us our spot as the #1 health insurer in the region. So while you look out for your neighbors, know IBX is always looking out for you.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFC selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on Sports Grid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid.
EAGLES. Eagles.
Guys, appreciate you. We'll see you tomorrow, going 2 to 6. Every single day as we get closer to Monday, I'll tell you, man, we're getting down to it. It's 5 days until the start of legal tampering, and then next week is free agency. So it's going to set up for an interesting offseason here. We appreciate you very much. 2 to 6 tomorrow. We'll see you on the flip side.